afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. It's approximately 1 p.m. Before we have our Pledge of Allegiance, I want to ask if you please rise for a brief moment of silence as we reflect back on the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces as they protect our interests around the globe, as well as the courageous men and women of Las Cruces Police Department, Las Cruces Fire Department as they keep our city safe 24/7, 365. Councilor Corran, if you join me in the pledge, please.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to have our pet of the week, or pets of the week. Jennifer Martinez from our communications office will be introducing them.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm Jennifer Martinez with the city's communications office. And first, I will let you get to know Jenny Lynn the cat. Jenny Lynn and I share a first and middle name. Jenny Lynn is a diva, I think sometimes kind of like me. She likes attention to be all on her. She would do well in a home where she is the only pet, but all the better for you to give her your undivided attention. She is quiet. She loves cheek rubs, neck scratches, and scratches at the base of her tail. She likes to give affectionate headbutts and sometimes little love bites. And now let's meet Froggy. Froggy has been in a foster home for a few months. She is also looking for a family that can chill with an older, mellow, larger dog. Her foster family says she is very affectionate and only wants to be loved and pet. Froggy is very gentle and great with older dogs. She would love for you to make her part of your forever family. If you'd like to meet Froggy or Jenny Lynn, you can contact the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley at 3820018. And there are a couple of adoption events that are going on this weekend. The Dog Days of Summer event takes place from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday at the Sunland Park Mall in El Paso. And then there's a foster open house at the Animal Services Center both Saturday and Sunday this weekend. There are 2 sessions each day for a total of 4 sessions this entire weekend. Those times run from noon until 2 and another from 2:30 to 4:30. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, next is Dr. Francisco Payades, the Deputy Director of Economic Development, who's going to give our Jobs of the Week.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. For this week's Jobs of the Week, we have an Economic Development Coordinator position, and this is with the Economic Development Department at the City of Las Cruces, paying between $29 to $41 an hour, depending on the experience, and this position will be closing on July 4th of 2022. We also have a driver and loader with Max and Meats, and this is going to be for $14 an hour, and it's going to be closing on July the 9th of 2022. There's also an Office Administrator position available with El Caldito Soup Kitchen. The salary for this position was not disclosed, and the position will be closing on the 10th of July of 2022. There's also a warehouse worker, and this is with Chaparral Materials Incorporated, paying between $11.50 to $14 an hour, depending on the experience, and this position will be closing on the 8th of September of 2022. There's also a position available with an entry-level diesel mechanic, and this is with Sunbelt Rentals, paying between $13 to $23, depending on the experience, and closing on the 9th of September of 2022. Some additional events that we're going to be having at the New Mexico Workforce Connections office. It's a medical employer connection, and this is this Thursday, June 23rd from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Both events will be held at the Las Cruces, New Mexico Workforce Connections office at 226 South Alameda Boulevard. And for a full list of jobs, internships, and volunteer opportunities, we ask you to go to employinm.com or go to governmentjobs.com/careers and /Las Cruces. And as always, the information of the New Mexico Workforce Connections office at 524-6250. That's the phone number, and located at 226 South Alameda Boulevard here in our downtown Las Cruces. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Dr. Payades. And now we're going to have a proclamation, Battle of Bunker Hill. Perhaps probably one of the most significant or early battles of the American Revolution. I think the British were lost, 5-1, 6-1. So anyways, Councilor Corran has a proclamation she'd like to read.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Whereas, and I would invite any members from the Gadsden chapter to come up who might be here today, please. Thank you both for coming on up. I'm Becky. Thank you both for being here. Whereas our local Gadsden chapter of the National Society of the Sons of the American Revolution has called to our remembrance our Spanish Presidio soldiers and civilians who actively supported General Bernardo Galvez and the American colonists who actively supported the cause of independence and freedom during the American Revolution. And whereas that the Battle of Bunker Hill, fought on Breed's Hill, produced severe casualties for the British and caused the siege of Boston to come to a stalemate. And whereas the beloved French hero of the American Revolution, the Marquis de Lafayette, is said to be buried beneath a sprinkling of soil from Bunker Hill, procured by his son. And whereas that the Bunker Hill battle flag is still proudly flown today. Whereas that we remember and honor Paul Revere's midnight ride to warn the American colonists. And whereas that the 221-foot-tall Bunker Hill monument, completed in 1842, still stands as a beacon to American freedom and independence. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of Las Cruces, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim June 27, 2022, as the 274th anniversary of the Battle of Bunker Hill, and honor and recognize our ancestors who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom in America that we enjoy and serve today. I'm not sure if you all want to say something. Did you have?
Say something? Hello, I am William Baker with the Gadsden chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution, and we're very thankful for this proclamation. We like to do what we can to keep history alive, and this is definitely a great remembrance. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for this opportunity to give you this proclamation. As I just mentioned, Bunker Hill was really significant. I think that's when the British thought they were just going to run over those patriots, but they had other things in mind, and really proud, of course, proud of them. That's how the United States started its humble beginnings. Okay, so next we're going to go to, I have a conflict of interest statement I'm going to ask. This is where I'll ask if members of the City Council, City Manager, or City staff has any known conflict of interest on any item on the agenda.
None by Flores.
None. Cantera.
None.
Graham. None. Avila.
Okay,
None.
seeing none. Now we're going to go to public participation. This is where our members of the public can speak to council for up to 7 minutes. 3 minutes on any topic you wish, 4 minutes total on an item that's on the agenda. We ask that if there is an item on the agenda, if you could wait until that item is presented. If you have to leave, we understand that. We might not be able to respond to you. So I usually start on my left. I usually start on the first row, the one on the first row. So on the second row, anyone? Yes, ma'am. If you want to just come forward, just come to the podium, state your name.
I want to make sure this works. Yep. Hello, my name is April Nastasi. Thank you for listening to me. I made you guys aware last month of the issue that we have in this town with our grumpy dogs. And I gave you the statistics of 1,000 dog bites a year for the last 3 years. I also gave you the information about the child that was killed. We've had 2 deaths and 1 arm amputation in the last 8 months. And I'm here because I gave you guys some suggestions of what we could do. They also have the American Veterinary Medical Association has a task force of canine aggression. And I want to know what you guys are going to do about it.
Well, April, and first off, thank you for coming here and sharing with us what you and your business, I guess, can do. Unfortunately, those are more of a civil action. So when they do bite a child or somebody, I mean, that's just something there that we can't offer those services to the public. That's something that they're going to have to do on their own. We can obviously, if there's a loose dog, then we ask the residents to let us know, and then we can send codes to try to apprehend them. But in the meantime, we can't, the state prohibits us, called the anti-donation clause, that allows us to use monies to use your services to show people what they can or can't do with their dogs.
Well, then I guess you misunderstood me. I can go do something else. I do this for the dogs. We have dogs in this town, and it's a vast majority of them. They have a lower tolerance to life in general. Most of your dogs, if a pot lid is dropped on the ground, they go, oh, what is that? But the dogs nowadays that people are breeding, their reaction is, oh my God, it almost killed me. Oh my God, did you see that? Okay, and we have a lot of people that have a lot of anxiety, and your dogs feel that and they take it on. So it's not, I started this to help the dogs. Dogs are easy. It's the people. And so I'm actually teaching people how to, I'm not asking money for me. I do need some to continue the full program, but also the law says that you're supposed to have a program. The animal control is supposed to be enforcing these people to go to a socialization behavioral program. We don't have one. I can offer that. I can offer to teach. I'm not going to live forever. I want to put something in place where I can educate everybody, because I've been doing this for 17 years. I'm good at it, and I'm the only one that wants to take the responsibility, because it's a liability, okay? And we need to do something. I need the people of Las Cruces that have been bitten to start emailing you guys, because this is a problem. You guys, I'm not here.
Yeah, April, I'm sorry, but your time is expired.
You said 7 minutes.
No, it's 3 minutes to talk to the public. The other 4 minutes will be reserved for items on the agenda. So you're welcome to leave your information.
I already did. Did you guys read it?
Well, April, when you send it, and this is a good opportunity to tell the public, when you send it to all council members, you're not going to get a response, because they don't want to even give the impression of violating the Open Meetings Act. If you should send it individually, and then you might get a better response.
Okay, well, then I request the people of the city of Las Cruces, because I'm not coming to you to just help the dogs. This is a mental health problem for everybody.
April, I understand, but you can
and you guys don't care?
You can leave your information with the city clerk. And
I left it.
You can email me, and then we can try to set up an appointment, but we can't really have a discussion here about this, and this can take a lot more time, and I need to find out.
People are dead.
We need to find out.
We
a little
don't
bit
care?
more. Yeah. April.
You guys don't care?
Yeah, it's
How
not
many
that.
of you guys have been bitten?
Yeah. April, I'm sorry, but you're
I
gonna...
thank you for your
you're-
time. I thank you for your time. I just want
Okay.
everybody to know
Okay.
that this is a serious problem, and we need to take the responsibility, because we can change them.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to me. You guys have a blessed day.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Was there anyone else on the second row? How about on the third row? Fourth row? Fifth? Sixth row? Yes, ma'am. We'll come back to you after this lady. We'll come back to you after this lady.
Good afternoon. My name is Esther Chavez Adams. I agree with you, miss. I have also been bitten with a dog twice. I have had surgery done. That's besides the point. You all do not care. You won't be where you're at if the people did not vote for you. You will not. So you don't care. But I have other agendas I wanted to bring forth. The homeless. They're urinating all over the downtown, nearby the buses. I work for Abraham's restaurant. His granddaughter, she's 17. She was confronted with a woman that didn't have clothes on Picacho. That happened up in El Paseo, Alto Sí Señor. All these homeless people are living all over the place, taking the baskets from the stores. Nobody cares. When I was 18 years old, you couldn't leave with a basket. They would fine you $200. Another thing, all these potholes that are damaging the cars. No one cares because they get fixed. Another thing, all these stop signs that you can't drive and see the stop signs because the trees are covering them. An accident ready to happen. If you cared so much, you would do something about it. Again, every single one of you would not be here if it won't be for the people. Now, I agree with her, and if I, myself, and I'm very forward and outspoken, have to go out all over town and address it to the people how you all are, I will. Because that's hateful, rude, selfish, disrespectful, and I can go on and on. I'm very disappointed in all of you. You might have money to do whatever the heckins you want, but us lower class and middle class, we strive to be here. People are putting up big high towers to keep the homeless away. What have you done? You're allowing it. God forbid you. Shame on you.
Okay, so that was the 6th row. Anyone else on the 6th row? How about the 7th row? 8th? 9th? No one else other than these ladies? Yes, ma'am. I just need you to state your name, please.
Hi, I'm Kathleen DC, and I live over on Van Patten by Lions Park.
I'm sorry, what was the first name?
Kathleen DC, and I live on Van Patten, right by Melendres, which I call Melendres Speedway, because I can barely cross the street with my dog to go to the park. I've had trucks, when I go like this, slow down, they flip me off. So we need something done over there, but what I'm also concerned about is the dogs. I was bitten in 3 places by 2 dogs, and trying to get the report, the accountability of what happened to the dogs. This was back in March, right before my friend Penny was mauled. You know, and I've tried several times to get my reports. And I've been given the run around. Now, it was my neighbor's dogs that bit me, and I haven't seen them, so I'm assuming they were put down. I wasn't even given a notification that the dogs had their rabies shots. I had to call. I had been promised they would call me within 3 days to let me know. I called. And luckily, the dogs did have their rabies shots. Yeah. There's a lot that needs to be done with the loose dogs. There's a lot to be done with education. And I grew up here, and this is a historic problem. I grew up out on Amador, when it was Amador and farms, and people would dump their dogs while you're standing in the road, in your yard. So I think it's a lot about education, the spay and neuter clinics, vaccination clinics. You know, I'm fortunate. I needed medical treatment for my leg. I needed antibiotics, but I still have my leg. Penny is doing well. She's waiting to get her prosthesis in August, but she still needs, she's an artist without her arm. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, Kathleen, here's my card. You can email me. I can try to help you find where your report is. And let me just take this as an opportunity to tell all the members of the public, if they see a dangerous dog, email me, mayor@las-cruces.org. We will do our best to find out exactly what's happening with them and get back to you on that. So we don't want to see anyone hurt. It's just, as I was mentioning to April, the state law prohibits us from spending money for any particular organization. Okay, so I'm going to start on my right. First row looks like staff. Second row, anyone? Third row, looks like staff. Fourth, staff. Fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth row. Anyone on my right? Okay, that concludes our public participation. I've got a closed meeting statement to read. The Las Cruces City Council met in closed session at 10 a.m., June 13th, 2022. The following members were in attendance: Councilors Flores, Corran, Bencomo, Graham, Abeta, Gandara, and myself, Ken Miyagashima. Excuse me. Staff present was Miguel Dominguez, Las Cruces Police Department Chief, Luis Robles, outside attorney, Bonnie DeWitt, outside attorney, Jennifer Vega, city attorney, Barbara De Leon, Chief Administrative Officer, Ifo Pili, City Manager, Ikani Tamopeo, Assistant City Manager. Meeting adjourned at 12:20 p.m. For the record, Las Cruces City Council met in closed session and discussed those limited items as stated in the posted notice, which is to discuss threatened litigation regarding Amelia Baca, which is closed pursuant to NMSA 1978, Section 10-15-1H, number 7. Okay, so now we're going to go to acceptance of the agenda, but we're going to have to remove item 8.7 in its entirety. And I believe, Mayor Pro Tem, you said you wanted to have an item removed?
Yes, sir, Mayor, 7.1.
Okay, so item 7.1 has been removed for discussion. Item 8.7 has been removed in its entirety. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved. Abeta?
Second by Flores.
Motion made by Councilor Beta, second by Councilor Flores. Christine?
This is on the motion to accept the agenda as presented with removal of item 7.1 for discussion and removal of item 8.7 in its entirety. Councilor Abeta.
Yes.
Councilor Graham.
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo.
Yes.
Councilor Corran.
Yes.
Councilor Flores.
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta.
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Okay, item 7.1, Resolution 22-147. Need a motion, a second?
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gandara, second by Councilor Abeta. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a question or did you want a full presentation?
I'd like a full presentation, please.
Okay. Katrina Gadanez will be presenting.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Katrina Godinez, Neighborhood Program Specialist from the Housing and Neighborhood Services section of the Economic Development Department. Today I bring before you Mano y Mano agreement. The Mano y Mano agreement is a partnership between the City of Las Cruces and the Mesilla Valley Community of Hope that began in 2018. Modeled after Albuquerque's There's a Better Way program, a program for people experiencing homelessness, near homelessness, and housing insecurity. The Parks and Recreation oversees these individuals who are assigned to landscape, beautify, remove garbage from, and perform other tasks on city property. These individuals are paid $12 a day, $12 an hour, $60 a day. The selection of these individuals is done daily by a lottery system. We currently have 2 vans, 20 people working 5 days a week. The city provides the van, the supplies, the equipment. This agreement is for a 1-year term starting July 1st, $412,000 as part of the FY23 budget. The bulk of this budget is for day labor wages. With that, I'll stand for questions.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, Mayor, thank you so much for the presentation. You did awesome.
Thank you.
Is there a way if that we can increase capacity, not only the amount, but increase capacity in terms of the number of folks that we have working for Mano y Mano? And why I ask is because Councilor Graham and I participated in a neighborhood meeting specific to the Desert Hope, and I thought if we could include a third team that maybe primarily comes out of the tenants from the Desert Home apartments to help sort of clean and, capture trash and gather carts and those kinds of things and make sure that it gets distributed to the other shopping centers that might be helpful to the neighborhood, especially because they're experiencing quite a bit of trash and things that others have noted here today.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Gandala, we do have the Mano a Mano spot truck that has been discussed. So it's a new initiative that's being explored, adding a hotspot Mano a Mano truck crew that could do outreach, make contact with individuals camping where they shouldn't be, connect them to other resources, and also do some cleanup to mitigate the impact that our unhoused populations are having on those areas. Is that something that you would?
I love that. I think that would be an excellent idea that we could deploy to lots of places around our city that we're getting consistent complaints about specific areas, and I think that would be very helpful. So how far are we? What does it take? Is this included in this Mano a Mano resolution today, or what will it take, and what's the time frame, and it coming back to council for approval?
Mr. Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Gandara, it would have to be, we would have to amend this resolution to add this to it. It would be for budget adjustment and to revise the current agreement.
Well, I think we should do that, but I'll wait till the others, Mayor. There might be other councilors that want to speak to that. I think I would like to see that happen, Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mayor Pro Tem, that's something that I would support, but I think maybe let staff kind of chime in to see if or Jennifer, to see if that's too significant that we need to have it advertised. I don't know. Yeah, so it looks like Natalie's coming forward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. Natalie Green for the record. I did want to propose, we'll have to bring a budget adjustment at a later time. Staff's recommendation would be to amend the first that to read that the resolution, if approved, would allow the city manager or the city manager is authorized to execute the agreement and any amendments on the city's behalf without further consideration by council. So that way we can amend the scope of work and not have to bring it back for another resolution. So we could start on the July 1st, including the spot truck. They don't need the initial $93,000 up front. We can wait to do a budget adjustment with the regular budget adjustments that come through from our budget office. So we would just need to amend the scope of work, but I'll confirm that with our legal, just to be sure.
I didn't get that last part. You kind of moved away from the mic and I didn't hear that. Sorry, Natalie. Say that last part again.
I was just going to defer to our legal just to make sure that that we could amend the first that to say that the city manager is authorized to execute the agreements and any amendments on the city's behalf without further consideration by city council. So that way we could amend the scope of work to start the truck July 1st, but we will need to come back for a budget adjustment at a later date. So we wouldn't do the money today, but maybe we could amend the contract so we can just move forward. But I'll also defer to legal if that's allowed.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is Jennifer Vega, City Attorney. I'm not really sure how that would affect the scope of services. If that would, I guess it just depends on what the scope of services would be, how it would be affected. So if it's a minor change, then you would not have to bring the contract back. You can amend it here. However, if it's a significant change with significant cost, then you would need to bring it back and repost. So I'm not really sure what the amendment would be. So if you could clarify what the amendment would be, we could make that determination.
Mr. Mayor, Council, we're just requesting that the amendment to the resolution be that the city manager can execute any future amendments without council's consideration. It will change the amount of the contract. It would raise from $412,000 to an additional $93,000. I'm not a math person. Maybe Mr. Mayor can calculate it for me. In terms of scope, it wouldn't really change the scope. We would just be adding an extra vehicle. And
Mayor and Council, then if you're going to bring back a budget adjustment anyway, you should probably just add in that extra scope at the same time as the budget adjustment.
Okay, in that case, that'll delay the spot truck by a couple weeks until we can get back on the council agenda.
Mayor and Council, if I may, you could approve this contract as it is today and then amend it with the budget adjustment. So you would have a separate amendment. You can do it both ways. You can approve today and then amend it to add the extra cost and the extra service at the next amendment. That way you could begin this contract term now.
Councilor Bencomo.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you both for the presentation. I agree with this. This is going to be my question as well. Thank you for pulling it, Mayor Pro Tem. Natalie, you mentioned, so there is a need for an extra vehicle.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Bencomo, we do get a number of calls about areas that need not only outreach services, but cleanup services for encampments or where our unhoused population are congregating. So I think I got an email this week from one of the city councilors, and then a number of our partners also get calls. And so this would send out a crew, and it would be a truck. It's an F-250. It's a truck we would lease from our fire department. It would have a supervisor, a driver, or the supervisor and driver, an outreach staff person that's being covered by another contract, and at least 2 day laborers. And so they would go out to these, I call them hotspots or complaint areas, and so they would outreach with those individuals experiencing homelessness, and then the day laborers would assist with some sort of cleanup.
Great.
And so we're hearing that around El Paseo, Idaho. There's several canals in the area, and then Med Park and some other areas. So
That's
it's
excellent.
definitely needed.
Natalie, thank you for the additional context. I'm also curious if this spot truck will be able to work with codes for any notifications that come in through 311 or Ask Las Cruces, which, by the way, everybody, download Ask Las Cruces on your phones. It is a great way to report codes violations. But is there a way to work with that? Is that how it's going to partner, I guess?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Bencomo, that is the intent, that we would get those areas or those deployment areas from either police or codes or you as City Council who are receiving those constituent complaints.
And I think additionally my ask would be that, Natalie, you or whoever is leading this, to connect with EBID staff as well in a way to better partner, I guess, to the cleanup of the ditches. And Jennifer, I just need clarification from you. So you're saying adopt it as is or make an amendment today to do the scope?
Mayor and Council, you can adopt it today as is and then also amend it to add the extra vehicle and the extra cost when it comes back for a budget adjustment.
Amend it when it comes back?
You can vote on the amendment at that time.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. And I mean, you know, I think this is something that we need to start on urgently. I think it's something not easy, but easier than a lot of the other things that the community has, you know, been really public about. And I think this is something that's really tangible and we could move on it really quickly, urgently. So if we can't do it today, I understand it, and I would hope that it does come back 2 weeks from today. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Graham.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, just adding my support. I'm looking forward to seeing this coming back and to increasing the scope as Natalie described. As Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, we attended a meeting in my district, and thank you again for being there with me. And I think that I love seeing these programs that can multitask for want of a better term. This is going to address an urgent need in my district, but it's also providing the outreach and support and services that our unhoused neighbors also deserve and also should be getting. So I love the fact that this is also a support and service based as well as an employment avenue, and doing great things for everyone across the city. So thank you so much.
Jennifer, you had another comment?
And thank you, Mayor and Council. I don't think I made it, I don't think I explained it well. You can pass it today, and you can begin the contract today. And then to add the extra vehicle with the extra cost, you'll have to have a budget adjustment for that. And then at that time, you can have like a simple one-page amendment that would add that extra vehicle when you have the budget adjustment. Sorry, thank you.
Okay, that sounds good. If there's nothing further, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the public?
Mayor, excuse me.
Who's
It's
asking?
Barbara Dilleon.
Oh, Barbara,
Sorry
okay.
about that. Apologize all the way on this end of the dais. And I just wanted to clarify that the current scope of services is for city property only for the work. And so if that's what's going to be considered, then in 2 weeks, in addition to the additional vehicle, then I'm assuming we would get the clarification from legal as to whether that's appropriate. Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. I'm taking it for granted that the canals that they're talking about are the ones that we're responsible for. I'm just guessing. Because we're not responsible for them all, but quite a few of them we are. So. Okay, if there's nothing further, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-147. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Okay, item 8.1, Resolution 22-153.
So move, Gandara.
Second, Graham.
Okay, motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gondeta, second by Councilor Graham. And it looks like Matt Sines will be leading the presentation.
So good afternoon, Mayor, members of Council, Administration. For the record, my name is Matthew Sines, Interim Chief Budget Officer. The resolution before you today is for various budget adjustments for various departments for the month of June. So with these adjustments, there are no new programs or policy initiatives. The adjustments are focused on compliance and alignment. And speaking of compliance, we're working on year-end cleanup with these adjustments. We also have amendments to the capital improvement program, which I'll turn over to Mr. Akundov to discuss. And overall, we're looking to apply best practice. So just as a friendly reminder, the amounts that we're requesting today are located in the column with the yellow heading. We're also letting you know what type of transaction we are requesting with the letter that follows the amount. So E is for expense, R is for revenue, and a T is for transfers. So let's go ahead and get started. So in the general fund, we are adjusting revenues by $2.5 million for the following adjustments. We have compensating tax of $1.1 million. We're reducing the internet sales tax. If you'll remember with House Bill 6, the internet sales tax is now part of the regular gross receipts tax. So that adjustment is, we are decreasing that to actuals by $1.7 million. We also have fines and fees of $1,250 and charges for services, which are basically fines, fees, and permits, things of that nature, for $3.1 million. Also in the general fund, we have human resources. We're closing out their fund, 6320, for the employee health. This was moved to the general fund, so we're increasing expenditures of $174,000 in the general fund. Fund 2100 Police is adjusting the New Mexico Department of Public Safety grant to actuals by reducing revenues and expenditures of $73,000. Also on Fund 21, Police is reducing revenues and expenditures by $1,507 for the FY21 New Mexico State University Leadership Academy to actuals. Fund 2515, we have the TID. We're adjusting revenues. We had more revenues than expected this year, so we're budgeting $3.3 million. Finally, we have the 6320, reducing expenditures for the other half of that to the general fund of $174,000. So with that, I want to thank you all for your time. I'm going to turn it over to Sarah.
Thank you, Matthew. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of Council. I'm Sarah Cundiff, Management Analyst for Public Works. We have a few CIP amendments today. The first one I want to go over is the McClure drainage improvements. We are reallocating a portion of the Mesquite Tornillo drainage improvements. There were underruns there, so we have leftover funding on the study for Mesquite Tornillo, and the objective here is to complete the study for McClure. When the study is completed, then and only then will the actual and true infrastructure improvements be determined between the two drainage areas. The next four you will see are the GO bonds. We are extending the contract with our consultants ECM due to delays. That funding is coming from a reallocation of Midway. You will see both the Mesquite Tornillo and Midway here. Those are the two projects that had underruns that are contributing to the two previously discussed. And the last one is Toshiro. Toshiro is receiving a small reallocation from Midway, and that is for the final project closeout, final payments being processed as we speak. We're getting ready to close everything out, done by the end of the fiscal year, and that project will finally be on its way to closure. And with that, I will turn it back over to Matt.
Again, Mayor and Council, thank you for your time. Here are your council options.
She didn't give you any time to rest, did she?
No.
Okay, any questions? Members of the public? Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-153. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay. Item 8.2, Resolution 22-154.
So move, Gondeta.
Second, Bencomo.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gondeta, second by Councilor Bencomo, and Sherelle de la Cruz will be presenting.
Greetings, everyone. Mayor, City Council members, management. Sherelle de la Cruz, Management Analyst for the record. The resolution before you is to accept 1 federal operating grant, 3 state grants, and 1 foundational grant. The Las Cruces Police Department has been granted the Summer Youth Leadership Academy FY22 funds of $4,000 from New Mexico State University. These funds are to be used to purchase materials and supplies for the LCPD and NMSU Summer Leadership Academy. Parks and Recreation has been awarded $82,301 from the New Mexico Youth Conservation Corps Commission, YCC, with a match requirement of $17,083, which is budgeted. These funds will be used to plan and manage the YCC project to include recruiting, guiding, and coordinating the work of 15 youth to be hired for the project term, which is 9 months. The program will provide youth with life skills, job training, and educational opportunities. High-intensity drug trafficking area, HIDTA, has received their fiscal year 2023 federal fiscal year 2022 federal operating funds of $1,062,368. These funds are to be used for drug control programs, which does include an allocation to the Metro Narcotics section within the Las Cruces Police Department. Visit Las Cruces is receiving New Mexico Tourism Department Cooperative Advertising FY 2023 state operating funds of $287,709 from the New Mexico Tourism Department. The cash match of $143,854 is budgeted. The annual advertising program from the NMDT provides a 2-to-1 match for advertising related to the promotion of tourism. Most of the funds will not come into the city, but will be used to purchase bulk advertising on behalf of the city by NMDT. Las Cruces Airport has been awarded the air service forecast for Las Cruces International Airport from the New Mexico Department of Transportation Aviation for $155,106. This grant allows the Las Cruces International Airport to contract for a forecast for air service volumes and needs for intrastate and interstate air services to the public. A forecast is required for the Federal Aviation Administration and NMDOT to provide future funding for air service operations. There is no match required for these funds. And with that, here are your council options. I will stand for questions along with representatives from each of the departments. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherelle. Questions? Okay, see none. Members of the public? Okay, see none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-154. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, item 8.3, Resolution 22-155.
So moved.
Second, Candela.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Graham, second by Mayor Pro Tem Gondeta, and Elizabeth Teeters will be presenting.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Elizabeth Teeters, and I'm going to be discussing with you Artico's request for an industrial revenue bond inducement resolution. Just a little background on the business. We came recently for ALITA, but just a reminder. So they are a cold storage company that plans to build a public refrigerated warehouse at the industrial park. They will be offering cold storage and related logistics services. They have purchased the property at the Las Cruces Innovation and Industrial Park. When we brought the LIDA, the estimated facility size was going to be 120,000, but that has gone up. They are going to be doing more work than they originally planned on doing. And then their estimated business operations will be September of 23. So this is Artico's first project. It aligns with the City Council Strategic Plan, Elevate Las Cruces, and Economic Development Strategic Plan, and it is one of our targeted industries. They plan on hiring 60 full-time employees. They are going to be investing $42 million. That will be land acquisition, building, and equipment. Just a reminder of the jobs that they will be adding into our community. And then another breakdown. So the wages range from $15 to $60 an hour. So they did apply for economic incentives and were granted $281,400 in LIDA. We're estimating about $84,000 in wage plus, and then the industrial revenue bond will be $42 million. And this $42 million, the IRB will be to purchase equipment at lower gross receipts tax rate, and equipment is exempt from personal property tax. So an industrial revenue bonds, these are taxable bonds issued to purchase equipment. The city owns the equipment. Artico enters a lease agreement with the city and agrees to pay all obligations of the bonds. They agree to purchase equipment at the end of the lease. The city is not legally liable to repayment of the bonds, and the bonds do not affect the debt capacity or ratings. So the purpose of this resolution is it shows that the City Council expresses intent to issue the bonds. It induces Artico to build their facility, and it also shows that the city supports the 60 new jobs. It also allows Artico to apply for tax-exempt certificate, and Artico can begin purchasing equipment while debt ordinance is approved. And with that, these are your regular council options.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. So Councilor Graham or Bencomo that has the light on? Oh, that's Councilor Graham, okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Elizabeth, for the presentation. And I believe we had discussed this maybe at a work session not so long ago, and I just want to clarify, the 60 new jobs, Artico is committed to hiring locally as much as possible?
Mayor, Councilor Graham, yes, that is the plan, is to hire locally.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Abeyta?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Elizabeth. I'm also excited to see this because this type of business helps with economic development in other sectors too. So it's really a grounding and foundational type business for us to have so that we can expand another value-added ag. So thank you, and thank you, Mayor.
I'm not sure if I heard a whole lot.
Pick you up. You need it closer to you. Very hard to hear.
Yeah.
Any better?
Okay. I was just saying, I was happy to see this as well because it is a foundational type item for our community and will help expand other value-added ag businesses. Thank you.
That's good. And Elizabeth, was this something that Mavita brought forward?
Mayor, Mavita has been a partner in this effort that they've been working with us, yes.
Very good. Okay, any other comments? How about members of the public? Okay, seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-155. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, item 8.4, Resolution 22-156. Need a motion second.
So moved.
Second, Bencomo.
Motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gondeta, second by Councilor Bencomo. And looks like Dave Duncan will be making the presentation.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. My name is Alfredo Pacheco. I'm the interim purchasing manager and deputy director of finance. And I'm here this morning, or pardon me, this afternoon, to introduce Dave Duncan, our buyer. He's been with the city a long time, but he's never made a presentation to council. And so not only are we going to give him one today, we're going to give him two. But I want to introduce him. He's doing an excellent job, and here's his presentation.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. My name is Dave Duncan. I'm the buyer for this, one of the buyers for the city. And today we're here for the amendment to the Custodial Services Agreement. This is the final term of the agreement. In September 2019, City Council approved a resolution awarding the contract to RNA Facilities Management. And that contract amount was for $315,522.63. And in the past year, over the last term of the agreement, which started in October of 2021 and expires in October of 2022, we had some staff shortages, and then also we had additional disinfecting for COVID-19, and that's going to leave us a little bit short this term. And this is the final term of the agreement. We do need to add about $84,000 to the agreement and bring it up to a total of $400,000 for this final term. And these are your options here, and I'm going to stand for questions, and I've got Alex Flores with me, Facilities Management Administrator.
Good job, Dave. Good.
Good.
Any questions? Members of the public? So Dave, you can say you did a presentation and Councilor Flores did not ask you a question.
Thank you all very much.
Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-156. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes. Okay, item 8.5, Resolution 22-157.
So moved. Gondeta.
Second, Abeyta.
Okay, motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Gondeta, second by Councilor Abeyta. Donnie Procise?
Procise.
Is,
Good afternoon. Sorry. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, councilors, and city staff. Donnie Procise, contract analyst with the purchasing program, for the record. Before you this afternoon is a resolution to approve a contract for the renewal of our Cisco smartnet system. The city uses a telephone system that was manufactured by Cisco. There are annual charges for the licenses for that system, which are based on the number of telephones that are connected, the types of services that we use in the system, and the types of devices that are connected to the system. The licenses and the support for the system are provided by Advanced Network Management Incorporated, or A&M, of Albuquerque, New Mexico. And A&M is an awarded vendor on the New Mexico State Purchasing Division statewide contract for network equipment. That contract is actually valid through November 17th, 2025. And the renewal licenses and support are not to exceed $150,000 annually for the life of this agreement. And with that, those are your council options. I will stand for questions, and I have Rob Delplane from the city's IT department with me as well, in case there's any technical questions.
All right, thanks, Donnie. Questions? Okay, members of the public? Seeing none, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-157. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, item 8.6, Resolution 22-158.
Move to approve, Bencomo.
Second, Graham.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Bencomo, second by Councilor Graham. And the veteran, Dave Duncan, will be presenting.
Good afternoon, Mayor, councilors. This is for the contract amendment for economic development services with Mavita. This agreement, the next term is going to go from July 1 through June 30th of 2023. This amendment is going to increase the annual expenditure from $200,000 to $250,000, and it also is going to extend the agreement as required by written instrument to extend it for the next term of the agreement from July for all of fiscal year 2023. And these are the options that we have, and I'll stand for questions if you have any.
Questions? Members of the public? Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-158. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay. Next item, 8.8, Resolution 22-160.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Gondeta.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Graham, second by Mayor Pro Tem Gondeta. Kathy Matthews will be presenting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. My name is Kathy Matthews. I'm a landscape architect with Parks and Recreation Department. I apologize for the look of this presentation. I can't seem to get it onto the regular. I'm here this afternoon to discuss with you the Pioneer Women's Park Gazebo project. I wanted to start with some background where the park is located. It's within the Alameda Depot Historic District, which is generally outlined as shown here. This actually shows the limits of the postcard mailing that we used to invite folks to attend our public input meetings. Adjacent to the park to the east is the Women's Improvement Association building. The Depot Museum is also located nearby a few blocks away, and also Catty Corner is a court youth center. This is one of the historic districts, and this was the original park for the city of Las Cruces, donated to the city by the Women's Improvement Association. So, as you may be aware, we do have a master plan for the future for this park. It was adopted by council in June of 2019 and generally keeps the shape and character of the park with lots of trees, some open green space with turf, additional trails, some more play equipment, and primarily, as we're discussing today, an expanded gathering area around the gazebo, the renovated gazebo. So in the master plan, the phase 1 project for implementation is identified as refurbishment or rehab of the gazebo, and also to reconstruct the arbors that were originally part of the gazebo. You can see here they're represented by these figures, generally showing extending east and west from the gazebo. So in the interest of implementing phase 1, the gazebo rehabilitation project, the city requested and received $200,000 grant from the state legislature. We actually requested about $800,000, but the legislature granted us $200,000 towards the design and construction of the rehab gazebo. So, and according to the master plan, the idea is to retain the original footprint and the silhouette of the gazebo. So we don't change the character of the park, we enhance an existing attraction in the park. The idea is to rehab it into more durable, maintainable materials, but keep the same look, the same feel, the same purpose of the gazebo, to create a gathering space for residents, to create a focal point for the park, and to have a space that could be used for all sorts of events, as it is currently, picnics and parties and weddings and the like. So the plan, as shown here, represents the shape and the outline of the existing gazebo, but also includes enhanced decorative features. So in keeping with sort of the architecture of the surrounding houses and the neighborhood, to add these kinds of decorative elements where currently just plain lattice exists. In this case, we'll put in sort of more attractive, interesting kinds of elements. So these decisions were come to through a public input process. We had 3 meetings with neighbors and interested folks throughout the community in November of last year, and February and April of this year. We had lots of lively discussion with folks about the purpose of the project, the extent of the project, and sort of interpreting the guidance provided by the master plan. And we came to good conclusions, I think. And basically, as I stated earlier, and that's to keep the shape, keep the character, but give it materials that are more durable, more maintainable, and will give us a beautiful gazebo well into the future. Among the choices that folks discussed, debated, and eventually selected were design options, the look of the gazebo, materials options, and of course, taking into account our budget constraints. As you know, construction costs have escalated dramatically, and so at this point, our design is looking to cost about $400,000 for the gazebo itself. That doesn't include the arbors, as illustrated in this beautiful rendering by our architect here. The $400,000 estimate includes basically the rehab of the gazebo structure itself. And so this is a rendering. It shows what eventually we're proposing. That's with these arbors as originally extended, just to make a more comprehensive kind of space and to create different kinds of spaces that people can use in addition to the main gathering point of the gazebo. So again, back to the budget, we have an estimated cost of about $400,000. Currently, we have a grant, a state legislative grant of about $200,000, less the design cost. So we're looking actually at about $178,000 available for it. I just want to let you know where the budget stands. We will be seeking the additional funding, perhaps from the state legislature, from other kinds of grants, and we're looking into other options for completing the construction budget so that we can get this design constructed. With that, I'm asking for the council's vote on approval of this gazebo design.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Oh, Councilor Flores. I was wondering if you guys...
Can't help myself. Good afternoon, Ms. Matthews. Thank you so much for your presentation. I just have one question about the gazebo. There's expansion, and what exactly is the expansion or the improvement? The original gazebo will remain, correct? And then what's the improvement or the expansion consist of? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, Councilor Flores, the expansion is basically the footprint of the sort of the patio area around the gazebo. This design includes options for improving the flooring under the gazebo itself. Right now, there are 2 options depending on how cost goes: to keep it just plain concrete, maybe with stamped and colored, or to place a brick flooring on top of that concrete. And the ultimate design decision is to include a brick patio in that entire space, not just under the gazebo, but also surrounding it as well.
Will there be any seating area?
Yes,
in
Mr.
that?
Mayor, Councilor Flores, there is seating included in the gazebo, within the gazebo. Right now, there are 3 benches located in the gazebo, and we're replicating that with new benches that will be able, standalone, and so that they will reflect the benches that we'll use throughout the entire park.
Thank you so much for your work on this and other things in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Beta.
Yes, thank you, and thank you, Kathy. So the 400,000, it's a lot for me, and I'm working with the park as well and hoping to do improvements. What is the most expensive item then on this that is causing that type of cost?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Beta, the materials that we're using are steel for the structural components. That tends to be costly, but required if we're going to have a structure. Another item that is relatively costly is the interior surface of the ceiling is actual wood product, since it'll be protected from the elements, but will give the same look and feel and character that exists currently. That also is a bit pricey, although we reduced that cost by speccing sort of a more standardized kind of material for that product.
Okay, thank you. And then looking at the needs of the full city and the different types of improvements, we've had a few new parks come in, we've had different things. How do we look at equity when we look at these types of items to make sure that we are improving all the districts in a real equitable way?
Thank you very much for the question, Mr. Mayor, Councilor Beta. We considered this as the equity issue with regard to this project, in that this project is located in District 1, which typically has not been receiving new kinds of amenities and park facilities. We are working with what we have, the parks we have, and making improvements in those, so that a district that may not see new additional parkland is seeing improvements that can be paid for in this particular instance, not with park impact fees as a new park would, but with state legislative grant.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Kathy, for your presentation. This has been some labor of love for the area, and I think I saw Robert Cruz come on in, who was at one time the president. So we worked with the legislature to get capital outlay funding, and if you recall, and maybe this was before Councilor Abeda and Councilor Bencomo came on board, the roof was in dire need of repair, and staff had been correcting and making it as best as they could, and so the group had been coming and really advocating for just repairing the roof. And we had, as Kathy indicated, a very spirited debate about what to do with the gazebo per se. So when we went and advocated, it was for really to help repair the roof, but design master planning of the entire area, something that hasn't been done. Man, I can't even remember. 6 years I've been here, Kathy, I can't.
We have been making repairs as we go along, and so fixing the lighting, fixing the irrigation system. About 10 years ago, we had new play equipment, but it's been incremental improvements and repairs to date.
Yes. So to keep up with the spirit of historic, the group, I guess these pergola awnings, if you will, had existed in the past, and we were moving into looking at the time frame, Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, the 1930s. Am I correct in saying that?
Councilor Gonda, that's correct. When the last time the arbors existed was about the 1930s. The 1970 reconstruction of the arbor did not include the gazebo did not include the arbors.
So I just want, this is really important to not only the area there, but across the city. Many folks come from, it's just not a neighborhood park per se. The entire city really reaps the benefit of this park. And so, it was really the will of the crowd or the group to move in this direction. And that spirited debate included continuing to just keep as is the wood and kind of replace it, but the wood is very old and needs a complete change. So I really appreciated Parks and Rec and the numerous meetings that you had with the folks. We even did ranked choice voting with the constituents there because the architect and the design, they were just amazing. Hearing from the group and bringing back options and having that debate, I think was good, and this is where we landed. I think it looks beautiful, Kathy. I appreciate you, staff, that were there evening upon evening in the park, including the folks. And we had a hiccup there for a moment, but I think that we're way past it. And so I would really ask council to support this. This group will be going back to seek funding through the legislature again, so that we can continue to make those improvements that the master plan has specifically. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments? Members of the public? Seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-160. Councilor Beta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondara?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, item 8.9, Resolution 22-161. Need a motion, second.
So moved, Abeta.
Seconded, Corran.
Motion made by Councilor Abeta, second by Councilor Corran, and Sergio Reese will be presenting.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. My name is Sergio Ruiz, Policy Analyst with the City Manager's Office, for the record. And today I bring before you a resolution to support the extension of the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act. A little bit of the history of this nuclear testing. The United States conducted nearly 200 atmospheric nuclear weapons development tests from 1945 to 1962. There were thousands of families that were exposed, men, women, children that lived within a 50-mile radius and as close as 12 miles from the Trinity site in 1945, when the first atomic bomb was detonated. The radiation from this test caused cancers, diseases such as leukemia, multiple myeloma, and lymphomas. The United States government decided to pass the RECA Act, or the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, to pay for the restitution and medical care to the people that were exposed to radiation from this nuclear test. The United States government has been compensating the downwinders, which is the term they use for the people that were exposed to radiation that live close to the Nevada test sites. But the downwinders in New Mexico have never been included or have been paid restitution, although they were the first to be exposed to the Trinity site test. The Radiation Exposure Compensation Act is scheduled to expire here in July 10th of this year, 2022. There are currently 2 congressional bills to extend and expand the RECA Act, and these are the HR 5338 and S 2798, and would include for the first time the downwinders of New Mexico. Supporting an extension on this act would increase the benefits from a one-time payment of $50,000 to $150,000 for those individuals affected. And also the health care coverage such as cancer screenings would also be extended. And with that, I leave it to council options and any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Sergio. Councilor Flores, did you want to comment on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you so much, Mr. Ruiz, for excellent resolution. I do have a question, though. The $50,000 to $150,000 restitution, for lack of a better word, is there any medical? Would this cover the children of those, say, of someone who has passed away as a result of the exposure? Would it apply to, would families be able to claim that?
That's what they're trying to do. There's the group here in New Mexico called the Tularosa Basin Downwinders Consortium, and they're trying to extend some of these benefits to individuals that are family members as well.
Right.
Yeah, but
and then I imagine there's also residual probably effects passed on to children that were unborn at the time.
Yes,
Possible.
Mayor, Councilor Flores, that's correct.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Ruiz. And thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Members of the public? Seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-161. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran is absent. Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, next is item 8.10, Resolution 22-162.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Abeyta.
Motion made by Councilor Graham, second by Councilor Abeyta, and Assistant City Manager Eric Enriquez will be presenting.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Eric Enriquez, Assistant City Manager. Here to seek approval for a resolution supporting a trap, neuter, return program to humanely control the population of feral cats in the community. So a little brief history. Back in May 17th of 2021, Council approved a resolution 21-174 in support of a TNR program. Then in August 16th of 2021, Council adopted an ordinance 2983, which repealed and replaced Chapter 7 Animal in the Las Cruces Municipal Code, which included the TNR program. Development of an administrative program is required to manage the TNR program as set by our city ordinance. The City of Las Cruces is committed to supporting the TNR program as a humane method to control and reduce the feral cats and community population within the city limits. The city will budget and provide financial resources annually to support the TNR program. TNR best practices, caregiver registration, basic expectations, and responsibility for caregivers, educational information for the public, and mechanisms for TNR logistics will be implemented. For purposes of TNR, education, and public health and safety, City Animal Control Unit will work in conjunction and in partnership with the Animal Service Center of the Mesilla Valley, members of the public, and residents who undertake caregiving duties. Mayor, at this time, I'd also like to mention that with the members of the public, there was a TNR subcommittee that I'd like to recognize and give thanks to. It was Ms. Jerry Willis, I believe she's here today, Kathy Stark, Athena Huckabee, and Councilor Flores also was on that subcommittee that provided a lot of input and support for this program. There was a lot of items that were addressed. We try to do the policy to be general, and a lot of those recommendations will be specific in our standard operating procedures and guidelines that animal control in the shelter will have as well. Also with me today, I have Officer Gino Jimenez, if there's any operational questions. So at this point, here are your council options, and we'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Assistant Manager Enriquez, any questions? Councilor Corran, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Eric, for the presentation and for your ongoing commitment to sort of working on this and bringing folks together to think about it. And I know I really want to speak to, I'm new, so I wasn't here for the original conversations that happened with TNR, but I really want to speak to the community's commitment to doing this right and well, and also to the city and the city ACOs and the ASCMV's commitment to really working on TNR as a solution to one of many, many, many really intense issues that are facing our animal populations in Las Cruces. And so I want to sort of speak to the idea that this program is sort of in conjunction with the ACOs, in conjunction with the ASCMV, and with luck and commitment, the big structural barriers that face a really robust TNR program for our city include things like a person who can coordinate the activities in collaboration with community organizations and community cat caregivers, and veterinary capacity to do TNRs. I know that the Animal Services Center has been doing TNR when they can do surgeries, when they have a veterinarian available to do surgeries. That makes up between 30 and 50% of the surgeries that they're doing each time, in collaboration with some of the other surgeries that they're doing related to spay and neuters. So I know that there are capacity issues, and I know that there are things related to how this will be implemented and how to do it best. And I believe that this resolution committing the city to this program, and the commitment that I've seen from the folks who are working on it to make this happen in our community. So I just want to speak to really the work that is ongoing and isn't finished, but that I really appreciate you taking leadership on, Eric. And so I think this is a step, and I know that there are more forthcoming. So.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Corran. I appreciate that, Eric, for your presentation as well. So I guess where do I begin? When can we expect the policies to be where people can call on you? Like if someone I'm looking at an email right now that has in the area in District 1 a specific issue with feral cats. So should they call codes, and codes will then direct them to the policy? I mean, who's the coordinator? How do you want folks to communicate with our codes department? Hi, Gino.
Yes, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Gondar, I'll turn that over to Officer Jimenez.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem, for the record, my name is Gino Jimenez. I'm the Animal Control Supervisor. Mayor Pro Tem, to answer your question directly, I think the best way or the best option now is to call animal control, for the citizens to call animal control so that we can address their issues. Because as we know, we started the TNR program already when Council approved the ordinance. Even though we didn't have a policy in place then, we decided that it was best to, since you all voted on that TNR practice, let's get rolling with it. And we have seen some slight measures where it is working. So if these citizens can call us, and then we can keep track of those cats that are getting impounded. And then I'm sure that Clint from the ASCMV will have a record of how many were actually TNR'd. So to answer your question, the best option right now is to call us.
Call codes, and then you're going to pick them up and take them to get TNR'd at the center? And then someone will be registered, is what I'm assuming, and responsible sort of for these cats in the area?
Mayor Pro Tem, the answer to that question is there is no required registration right now for caretakers. It's a request. so that we know, so for example, if a cat bites somebody within that community, that feral cat community, that we can contact a responsible person to help us impound that animal so that it can be quarantined. We are loaning out traps on Thursdays between the hours of 8 and 5, and those traps are allowed to be on that property for 1 week at a time. So that citizen can catch as many cats as possible. They will be impounded by animal control, taken to the ASCMV, given all the requirements, ear tipping, vaccinations, microchipping, spay and neutering, and then when they're able, they will be returned back to that area where they were impounded.
Okay, all right. And so what is the allotted, so one can expect for something like that, I call codes, I say there's a feral cat situation. You come, you pick them up, you take them, they get TNR'd or, you know, all the necessary requirements, and then from that point, release back into the neighborhood. What does that time frame look like? And I realize that you're having to you may not have the answer to that because it requires the center's input.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Mayor Pro Tem, let's just work on a general scenario. So you call me today saying that there's a cat in a trap. The officer will pick it up within 2 hours. It's taken to the ASCMV. First of all, we've got to wait because what if that cat is actually owned? So it gives the owner an opportunity to come reclaim their animal. Mm-hmm. Should it be unowned, then the center has the discretion to either euthanize it or to TNR it, and they can do the necessary requirements to get it TNR'd. I'm sure Clint would like to comment on this because it depends on his surgery days. I really don't know where his staffing is right now as far as the veterinarian. But if you're looking at that scenario, that same scenario, I would think that you're looking at it 5 days from the time that ACO picks it up to the time that it's returned back to that area.
Okay, and do you have the necessary traps, Gino? All the tools you need to ensure that you have a proper program in place?
Yes, ma'am. Right now we have enough traps. The only thing that we are probably lacking just a little bit is in the educational material.
Okay, and you're getting those educational materials from, or what do you need from us, I guess? And what would be Mr. Enriquez mentioned a budget, right? A yearly budget. Do we know what that is? And will you come back to council with that budget? Because I don't believe we've approved a budget for this next fiscal year.
Again, Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem Gondara, yes, the budget has been approved for the Animal Service Center. The city is providing $1.7 million. The county will also match that this year. And so they'll have enough funding to fund the TNR program. The police department, on the other hand, will also fund what animal control needs for their traps and other equipment that they need for that. Right now, the big items on the TNR are the surgeries, and that would be handled by the Animal Service Center. They're looking at another vet or part-time vet, and then also a TNR coordinator. So hopefully we get to those phone calls and addressing those issues and registrations and logistics all through that TNR coordinator that has already been funded through this next coming fiscal period.
At the center, yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Councilor Bencomo?
Thank you. Thank you both for the presentation. One of my questions was just answered around budget. The second one, though, is we are getting some constituent concerns in our inbox. I'm just curious if it seems like this is the right next step forward. Should we expect more TNR-related ordinances to be coming our way? What is still missing to fully implement the vision as it, first came to council over a year ago?
Mayor, Councilor Bencomo, that is It's a very difficult question because it's early on. This is not an overnight fix. This is going to be over a period of time. So again, with that TNR coordinator, the logistics, and all that information, the data that can be collected, then we'll see. One of the reasons the policy is so general is so it's broad and we can adapt to it with the specifics that have been identified by the subcommittee team, that we can always change the standard the standing operating procedures or guidelines, but it's difficult to come back and change the ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the reasons why we're going that route.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Members of the public? Let's see here. We have a lady in the red, maroonish. Just come forward. Just state your name, please. You have 4 minutes, please.
Good afternoon, council members and Mayor Miyagishima. My name is Patsy Tarin, and I have a feral cat colony at my place of business. One day they just started showing up. So we've taken care of them, we've fed them, we've provided them shelter from the storms of the winter and those kind of things. But we've tried to work with the TNR program, and we've also tried to work with a rescue in order to try to get the cats in and get them TNR'd. But one of the problems is that we can only get in 2 at a time here, and we can only get in 2 at a time there. And I like to make some recommendations for the way that I think that it might actually help and be more progressive in getting the feral cat colonies population more under control. Now, I have no idea how many feral cat colonies we have in the city. I'm assuming that there are many. And when you can only take a feral cat colony and you can only take 2 of those and get them fixed, you're not really helping that colony. All you're doing is getting 2 cats fixed, but the next litter is going to more than replace those 2 cats. So the way that I would recommend that it could actually be put forward and actually work better is to work on 1 feral cat colony at a time. So if you take the feral cat colony, say that there's one at the corner of Main and Solano, okay? If there's a feral cat colony right there, then you can take and work on getting that feral cat colony under control. And then once you get that under control and you get all of the critters taken care of in that colony, then you move to the next closest colony. And then you move through each additional colony, like moving through the city and making a sweep through the city. And I think that that would actually make a better, more accurate accounting of the colonies, but also I think that it could actually help reduce colony growth by doing it that way, because you're going to the next one and the next one, and you're just kind of sweeping through. I know that there's a lot of people in the city that want to help with the feral cat colonies and the feral cat problems, and I think that when we get them involved in working with a particular feral colony, and I know that, you know, at times we can have issues with getting cages set up and those kinds of things, but I think if we get the people that work with the colonies to work as a team to help in, you know, with animal control and with codes to go ahead and help provide food and traps and checking traps and those kinds of things, because that can be really difficult, especially for people who are working. And if they can, you know, help, you know, get everybody to kind of help, okay, this is the first colony we're going to do, and have everybody kind of attack and work on that colony. And then once that colony, you know, is under control and you could trap more animals at one time, then you can move on to the next colony. And I think that you would get a lot of support from people in the city to help work on those colonies and to help, you know, come together and center on a colony and let's get this one done and then let's move on to the next one. And I think that that might be a great help and a better way to get the colonies under control. For example, just one thing is we've probably, through resources, TNR, and one of the places here in town, we've been able to get 10 cats fixed, okay? The only problem is that the other day we saw 7 new kittens. So we can't really get ahead of it that way. We've got to find a way to get going with it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask?
Yeah, you can ask her questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Harin. Do you know how many cats, on average, maybe, there are in a feral colony?
In our feral colony, we have 20 to 25 cats.
Okay. Do you think it's really feasible to pick up a group of 20 or 25 cats and do a TNR, a successful TNR?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Because of the people that are willing to work on this, that are members of the community, that donate their time already to taking care of these animals, I think that if we call on them and ask them to help us, do this group and okay, let's take 2 nights, let's check these traps, let's get the food out there, let's set up traps and get going with it. And I think there's enough people in the community that'll really help. Because I've had people, because they see us feeding the cats. And I've had people say, well, is there anything we can help you with? Well, I can afford the cat food, and I make sure that I have automatic waters out, and we water every day anyways. And, we built a little shelter for them for during the winter. We put a heat lamp in there because we don't want them to freeze. We don't want them to suffer. We don't want them to die.
Right. So how long do you think it would take to neuter, say, 20 cats? How long would it take?
Okay, when we took a couple of cats in, they did the animal control. They had a TNR event. They notified everybody only within 2 days of the event. And they said that they were going to take 50 cats. Okay, so to me that says that they could do 50 cats that day.
Really?
Okay. Well, the only thing is that only 8 people or only 8 animals were brought in. And that has to do with the time that it takes in order to catch them, okay, because they have to be caught, but they also have to not have anything to eat or drink for a little while before you do surgery on them. But some of those surgeries take from 8 to 20 minutes, depending on if you have a cryptorchid animal or something, or there's another problem along those lines.
But doesn't spaying require more of a more invasive procedure and more time consuming? And then how many doctors are you talking about?
Well, I would have to ask someone from there, because I only know what I know from taking the animals in that we took in. So I don't know what their staffing is and everything, because I don't work there.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So all I know is they scheduled for 50. Okay, if they can schedule for 50, then they can do 50.
Okay.
She said that they scheduled for 50 and that they could probably do more than that.
Who's she? Haddon? Dr. Haddon?
I do not recall her name. It's been a couple of months since we were up there. But I had no idea, and the other thing is too, is that, and I'm sorry, I know this is taking up a lot of council's time, and I apologize for that. But the gentleman here said that they would have to take in a cat. If somebody called and said, I have a feral cat, they're gonna take it in and they're gonna have it for 5 days. Okay, 5 days. All right, that means the city is going to be supporting feeding and caring for that animal for 5 days in a shelter that is already overrun with animals. Okay, but if I can tell you, okay, I've got a colony, this is a colony cat, and I can tell you they're colony cats, I take them in at 7 a.m. in the morning and I pick them up at 5 o'clock that day. You do not have to house them, you do not have to feed them. You're giving them shots, chips, clip their ear, and spaying or neutering them, and I'm taking them back.
And then how do you propose coordinating that with the, say, the ACOs and the shelter?
Well, I mean, it would be something that we would need to sit down and coordinate and have, and I know that they spoke recently about a meeting that they had, and I was not aware of that meeting. But I think that it would take coordination with them. It would take coordination with the people of the community that want to help these cats and want to participate in the TNR program.
And then that could possibly include a situation where an ACO goes out and picks up a stray feral. And then would that stray feral be able to be incorporated in, say, one of your, with your colony cats?
Well, It's difficult to say because we've had new cats that have shown up to our colony, and our colony doesn't readily accept them. So there is an issue there. But with working with the group of people that want to help with the TNR, okay, we could also help transport these animals so that ACO doesn't have to come up there, Codes doesn't have to come up there and worry about hauling the animals up. I've got trucks, we can stack cages, and we can take the animals there. You know, so it's taking some of the burden off of the city if they will work with the colonies like mine. And mine, I believe, is registered. Everybody gets chipped under my name.
Yeah. Ms. Sarin, have you met with ACO Jimenez, or have you met with city manager? Have you met with Kurt?
No, I have not met with anyone, ma'am.
Thacker, I'm sorry.
No,
Clint,
I have not
Kurt,
met with anyone.
Clint Thacker. Okay, well, these are excellent ideas, and I'm sure Mr. Enriquez has taken mental notes, as has Mr. ACO. I think your idea is a good one. What do I know about, you know, I've never dealt with feral cats personally, but it sounds like an excellent idea. The idea that you close down one feral community, or sterilize one feral community and then move on to the next.
Yeah, and you move to
because
the
it's
closest
true,
one.
you take one out and it's going to leave another 20 to 30 who are still very,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Did anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, I think your time is up unless,
Thank you very much.
unless they have any questions to ask of you, if you want to be nearby.
Okay. Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you for minding your community of cats and for your idea. And I agree. It takes a lot of coordination, and I appreciate your insight in bringing that. So thank you for being part of that.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Councilor Graham?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in that I agree. This is an excellent plan. I love the idea of combining forces to focus on one. You know, because that way we can get the kind of coordination you're talking about. If we know we can have a TNR event, we can have space for 50 cats with ample notice to get the kind of the cat street team together. And I think this is amazing. And also, if you are a life coach, I want you to put my life in order, because that was awesome. Thank you.
Members of the public, I think there was a couple others. Yes. You have 4 minutes, please. Just need you to state your name.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Jerry Wheelis, TNR Subcommittee and co-founder of Animal Advocates for Change. Thank you, Eric, for the acknowledgement earlier. I'm going to read this. I apologize. Closer? Can you hear now? Okay. The resolution before you, I believe, should not be approved. I obviously am pro-TNR, however, not as this resolution is written. The city's TNR ordinance calls for a resolution approving a TNR policy. This resolution is not a policy, nor does it claim that it is a policy, nor has one been submitted. The resolution merely supports implementation of TNR, which is great but unnecessary, as TNR is already a law in Las Cruces. What should happen is that either the policy already drafted by the TNR subcommittee, which was ready prior to the ordinance mandated deadline back in December, should have been approved by resolution, or a new policy should have been drafted by the city's animal task force and submitted for approval by resolution on or before June 14th. The policy now is outstanding and has missed 2 deadlines. The June 14th was the extension date granted by the council. However, the resolution at issue is not a policy, nor does it include a policy, nor was it prepared by the task force. Thank you. Questions? Anybody? Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am. You have 4 minutes, and just need you to state your name, please.
My name is Diane Starbuck, and I am a member of Animal Advocates for Change also. And I just kind of want to back up what Jerry had to say, that, you know, TNR is definitely the humane way to approach these feral cat colonies. However, the resolution has a lot of issues, as I have seen you all have questions about the resolution yourself. It's not a policy. You know, I can recognize Mr. Enrique's, desire to make it loosey-goosey, if you will, so there can be changes made. But we've all seen what happens if you vote something in and then you need to go back and change it. That could be a real issue. So I just hope, we want TNR, but we want to do it the correct way also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other comments? Yes, you want to come forward, please? If there's anyone else who wishes to speak, if you want to go ahead and come to the front right now, that'd be great.
Hello, my name's Tina Dalcor, and I approve of the resolution so we can get started on TNR. Animal Services has to hire the TNR coordinator that would be the link between the community, animal control, and all the colonies that are out there. I just finished dealing with a colony that had over 30 cats there. Unfortunately, I didn't have the money to get them all spayed and neutered. I was able to pull 10 out, but 10 of them I buried at my cemetery because they were in an environment that was not good for a colony. The other 10, I assume, also died, but were put in a dumpster. And I can't deal with that, because the reason I came into that colony was by accident. I pick up dead animals on the street to bury at my cemetery. And I picked up a dead cat, went to the place of business, asked them if they had a colony. And the man was very upset, and he had reason to be. He had an automobile repair. The cats were a danger to his employees. They were overrunning because they keep reproducing. He was told by animal control that they could pick up 1 cat every month. And when you have 30 cats, that's quite a long time to get the colony spayed and neutered. So I came in and started working with them. And I have 10 of those cats that didn't make it out of there. And they're all alive. Only thing, I have 4 more that still need to be spayed and neutered. And I can't get an appointment at Animal Services. I just finished paying Callista Animal Hospital $125 to get 2 cats done. And I gave Dr. Carver money to put the microchip and the rabies shot. I can't go on doing this. If you want to not pass this resolution, that's your choice. But we have to do something that's proactive, because I do not want to pick up more dead cats to bury. I've already buried over 75 of them from Animal Services before, thank you, that it was passed in the city. So I'm here for any questions.
Okay, well, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you, Tina, for what you do and your commitment to the cats and your emails to us. I appreciate it.
Okay, anybody else? Okay.
I have a question for our city attorney.
Sure, go ahead.
Ms. Vega Brown, what exactly does this resolution accomplish? I mean, we already passed an ordinance last year, and the funding part was left out, but this doesn't really have a funding part either. Or does it, and I just don't see it?
Mayor and Council, this establishes the parameters and the restrictions and guidelines for the TNR.
Mayor and Council, Eric Enriquez. Council Flores, it's in the resolution in the whereas is the city should budget and provide financial resources annually to support the TNR surgical procedures, spay, neuter, vaccinations, and microchipping at the Animal Service Center of Mesilla Valley, which operates under joint powers agreement between the city and Doña Ana County. So it's in the policy. We didn't want to be specific with a number because that number can always change. As it is right now, it's very difficult to obtain veterinarians. But what that budget mostly will do, we'll get that TNR coordinator that a lot of these ideas that have been presented today, that coordinator can act on and help with the process.
Is a TNR coordinator position budgeted?
Yes, it's
And
in,
it is, I think you
it was
said
in their
that.
annual budget.
Yeah, so then if we pass this, how soon would that coordinator be hired?
Well, the Animal Service Center would be doing the hiring of that position. We're hoping in July.
Well, okay, is that a hope and a prayer and a Hail Mary? Throw in the Hail Mary too?
All of the above.
All of the above. Okay. Hail Mary, full of grace. Okay, so, but what about the medical staff? Has the center been able to expand and add another doctor, or? I know that the old service center will be, or the existing, because we still haven't moved into the new one, that the existing center will be basically a medical facility. That was my understanding, where a lot of the TNR, where the neutering and spaying would take place. And I think there's plans to hire more doctors to be able to do the neutering and the spaying. Is there a timeline?
No, because Mr. Thacker has sent out letters of appeal, trying to recruit, trying to find vets, trying to find even retired vets, students, whatever he can do, and there hasn't been much success in finding veterans at this point. That's really the dilemma. The space, the materials, the actual surgeries that can take place will all be available. It's just finding the veterinarians at this time.
Thank you very much, Assistant City Manager Enriquez. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any other comments?
Has the veterinary community...
I need you to state your name again, please.
Hi, Patsy Tarin. Has the veterinary community here in the city been asked to possibly donate like one day every 3 months or something, and they've rejected that? Okay, thank you.
They're just real busy themselves.
Okay, so with that, if there's no further questions, Christine.
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 22-162. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondara?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, item 8.11, Council Bill number 22-025, ordinance number 3003.
Move to approve.
Second, Gondara.
Motion made by Councilor Abeyta, second by Councilor Gondara. And David Ware, who will be presenting.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. David Ware at the Community Development Department. This case is a zone change from R1A to O2. It should be O2, which is a office limited retail zone change. The purpose of the zone change is to bring property with a non-conforming use into compliance with the 2001 zoning code. Just to give you some background information on it, the property is located on the northeast corner of Walnut and Griggs. It is currently zoned R1A, which is a residential district. It is also on a property that is one of the corridors that run through the city, and the actual use of the property is an adult daycare and center for people with the disabilities. Just some of the characteristics of the neighborhood: it has both residential, commercial, industrial, and a mix of uses and recreational uses in the area. Excuse me, this is basically a site plan and zoning. So this is the subject property, again, on the northeast corner of Walnut and Griggs. You see there's a single-family residential neighborhood in this area. There are some industrial uses in this area, and there's even though it's zoned for industrial uses, these are primarily offices on this section of Griggs Street. And then down in this area is the Mearshite Recreational Complex, so as you can tell, there's a whole mix of uses in that area. An aerial picture of it, so again, you can kind of see the land uses. Office complex. I believe Doña County has several facilities in this area, a vacant track, the recreational complexes, and the single-family district. The Walmart is this area off to the east. This is a picture of the property as it exists today. It is a legal non-conforming use, so it was actually permitted on the property, but because they are looking at the potential to expand, they would need to bring it into compliance with today's zoning code. Again, just more pictures of the area surrounding it. Again, the request is to convert the property to O2, which is a professional office and limited retail. It would allow the existing use to expand and have some ancillary uses on the property. Excuse me. If you approve the zone change, again, it brings it into compliance with the 2001 zoning code and again allows potential expansion and additional uses on the site. We did do the public notice that's required by our ordinances. There were no negative comments on that, and the staff and their review also supported the zone change. When staff did the analysis and made findings, some of the rationale they used to support this zone change was that it facilitated compliance with the 2001 zoning code. It permitted expanded uses on the property. It's located on a street network that would support this type of use. It also is in compliance with the intent of land uses within Elevate Las Cruces, and it also meets the purpose statement of the zoning code and also the criteria for decision by the Planning and Zoning Commission. And again, it's a use that is compatible with the area. Again, it allows the continued use and potential expansion of the existing use. It's located on a roadway that would support that type of use, and it does meet the intent of the comprehensive plan Elevate Las Cruces. P&Z reviewed this on at their February 22nd meeting. There was no public input at that time. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval based on the staff review and comments that were provided and their own site visits. They recommended it 6-0 with one member absent. So you have your standard options today to approve or deny or amend, and I'd stand for any questions you have.
Thanks, Dave. Councilor Corran?
I don't want to belabor this too much. I just have a quick question, not about the actual zoning change, but about our process. So this building was built historically sometime and issued I would assume, business license and certificate of occupancy subsequently. In an area that it wasn't zoned for, or was there some?
I believe that the way this property came to be, it was initially a city-owned facility, and we started the programming on it, and so a governmental use would have been permitted under the R1 zoning district. It was subsequently sold to another provider, a nonprofit, and at that point it became a non-conforming use because it was no longer an operation of the city of Las Cruces. And so one of those items that when they came forward and wanted to look at additional uses or to expand their building, we needed to make it compliant with our zoning code.
Okay, thank you. I say that because it feels like a thing that we should check and like get squared away when it happens, I guess, so that businesses don't have to
deal with that.
Kind of, address it when they want to make a change. It would be great to, so that's all. And thank you for your answer.
Councilor Flores?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Mr. Weir. So one of the slides had a structure on it. It looked like a little house. There. Eastbound view on Griggs Avenue. What's that building there?
That is a single-family home.
So there were no responses, though,
Yeah,
when
so-
you put out a survey, they didn't respond? Or are you going to compensate them, or what?
Well, this is the home that was in that picture. This is the property that's having the rezoning. And so they're two separate properties. But when we do a zone change, we do our public notice, we send it to all property owners of record within 500 feet. So they would have received notice that this zone change was being proposed. And
So
had
are
an
they
opportunity.
part of the zone change, David?
They are not.
Oh, they are not. They're
No.
outside. Oh, okay.
Right.
So we're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
David, is anyone representing the Life Center here? Yeah, do you mind coming forward?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. My name is Danny Montoya. I'm the father-in-law and the father of the property owners, the corporation, and the people that are running the business. They are out of town, and just this morning they asked me if I'd come.
Okay. I was just going to compliment them. Earlier, you heard Mr. Weir say this was a city-owned facility, and it was, honestly, it was falling apart. And we gave it or sold it to this business, this non-governmental organization. And we had a lot of pushback from a lot of the residents. And I mean, they were just really upset. They didn't, you know.
They wouldn't accept it. Again, it's, it's
but I wanted to compliment
people with disabilities, and they've done a great job
Yeah,
with it.
exactly. That's what I want to tell you.
It's an
I
asset.
never heard, after that, never heard a
It's settled
peep.
down.
And I just want to thank you all, the business owners who run that organization, for the great job they've done. It's amazing, and what you all do for that segment of our residents is great. So I just wanted to.
And I'll let them know.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Yes, sir. Okay, so if there's nothing further, Christine.
This is on the motion to approve Ordinance 3003. Councilor Beta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores is absent. Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. Okay, 8.12, Council Bill number 22-026, ordinance number 3004.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Graham, second by Councilor Beta. Oh, Catherine Harrison Rogers. You're supposed to be here at the last one, but that's okay. Well, that's what I have here, and then David pops up. So.
Well, sorry, hopefully I'm not disappointing. Mayor, City Council, this is another zone change on a property a little bit different. This one is in the Los Alturas area. I'm going to speak about the current conditions and what they're proposing. Ultimately, the current property is what's known as A2. It's a rural agricultural district. This district is a holdover from what we called our 1981 code. There were a number of properties that were zoned this A2 district. It was for large lot, a single-family residential, as well as those properties that were agriculture. When we adopted the code under which we are currently operating, there was an opportunity for people to convert their existing zoning, but they were all over the city, so of course some of those properties were never converted. And it's really not an issue until somebody wants to build a house or add some additional structures onto the property. This particular property, it should be noted, is bounded by the city limits. It's actually split by the city limits, so part of it's in the county and part of it's in the city. And of course, the area under consideration today for a rezone to RE, which is residential estate, is only for the city portion. There is a property that was on the county side that was burned down, and so technically the entire lot is vacant. If you look at some of the older aerials, you'll see that it looks like there's a house there, but there isn't. And again, it's under the two jurisdictions as I had discussed before. You can see very, very clearly in this picture, this segment of the property is in the county, and this area in the green bounded by red is the one under consideration today in the city. Again, here is a picture. Again, it looks like there's a home there, but it did burn down, and we're only considering this area in red. So ultimately, they're proposing to convert this to RE. Again, this is residential estate. This allows for larger rural lots that are ½ acre in size and larger. This is very similar to the types of homes that you would find in that area that are also on large lots. Again, this is pretty consistent with the conversion zoning efforts that we've done throughout history, especially when the codes changed. I imagine that we hopefully won't ever experience those issues again, but it was a problem in 2001, and for anybody who's been sitting on a council for a lengthy period of time, you'll note that several of these come up on a year-to-year basis just to try to get these cleaned up. As part of the review, none of staff or any of the reviewing agencies noted any issues with this conversion. We have some pictures just noting the general area. You can see that it's really rural in nature, desert landscaping typically, just various views of the road in front of the home. Again, no health, safety, welfare issues. This particular zoning district is very consistent with the neighborhood. The property is within the suburban place type as specified by Elevate Las Cruces, which is characterized by areas like this. It also aligns with the rest of the 2001 zoning code and is supported by various policies and goals in the comprehensive plan. Number of comprehensive plans support. I'm not going to go through these in detail. These were included in your case packet if you dug through it a little bit deeper. During, of course, our process, for these, we did make outreach to neighboring properties. We did get a general inquiry, but there was no opposition, either at planning and zoning or prior to, or even before this meeting. Staff is recommending a conditional approval, a pretty minor condition. We're just recommending that that particular property be subdivided so that the jurisdictions are very clean. We know which property belongs in the county and which property belongs in the city. And then during Planning and Zoning Commission, this was recommended unanimously for approval. The findings, of course, listed are very similar to those already specified, that this existing zoning will be resolved. The city limit lines, again, split the property, and the proposal was consistent with a number of our plans in our own zoning code. So your options today are to vote yes to approve, vote no to deny, yes with conditions, or to table if you need more information. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but it's a pretty simple conversion just to make this particular property in keeping and aligned with our existing zoning code.
Councilor Bencomo?
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. I just have one general question in terms of realize Las Cruces. Do you feel like that update is going to sort of get rid of these individual resolutions? Is that the hope?
That's a really fantastic question, Councilor, members of City Council. We are hoping, it's not going to be an easy process, but we are hoping because the plan moving forward is to look at the city as a whole, redo the entire map, and then adopt that map. While there was a similar process back in 2001, there were a number of properties that had very similar zones and didn't go through that conversion. The proposal that we have moving forward with Realize is basically just a clean slate, and we're hoping that it'll take care of a lot of these issues.
Great. Thank you so much, Catherine.
You're
and
welcome.
Just question, because some of them come, like the next one, because somebody requests it, right? And some of these are, like you said, they kind of have to happen. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Members of the public? Seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Ordinance 3004. Councilor Abeyta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, 8.13, Council Bill number 22-027, ordinance number 3005.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Bencomo, second by Councilor Abeta, and Catherine Harrison Rogers will be presenting.
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, it looks like the only one that got uploaded is the applicant's proposal, but I would be happy to wing it since our presentation's not on there. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, it was just mistitled. My apologies. David pointed it out. No, that's the zone change. Is it? There it is. My apologies, it was just mislabeled. All righty. So this too is another zone change. Part of this zone change is actually a conversion to bring it into compliance, but another portion of this request is simply to add some additional uses. So I'm going to talk about this. This property is located along Bataan Memorial West, adjacent to McGuffey, on the north side of Bataan. This is a 28-acre property, has multiple zonings right now. There's R2, which is multifamily, C2, which is commercial medium intensity, and there's also some industrial, essentially along Bataan. The R2 portion is about 4 acres, C2 is a little over 14 acres, and the industrial portion is about 9.5 acres. Ultimately, there is, as I specified before, a slight non-conforming area in the C2 because it's larger than an acre. Here is a picture of the property. You can see that R2 portion at the top, the C2 sort of in the middle, and that industrial along Bataan. The applicant is interested in developing a big chunk of this property to what I'm going to call a multi-family development done in a single-family style, if that makes any sense. And the applicant is here and can talk about that a little bit further. And just to clean up the boundary lines about where this industrial property lies, there's a large easement, electrical line that runs through here. It appears that the intent behind the old zones was so that that would be in alignment with that utility easement. However, it's not. So they're adjusting that industrial line to align with where that easement falls, as well as add some commercial uses so that there's a variety of options for redevelopment of this southern portion in the future. Here's an aerial so that you can get a sense of the property. It is surrounded by some multifamily, some single-family uses, and some vacant land. You can see, if you follow my cursor, that's the approximate location of that power line and that utility easement, but the zoning is a little outside of that line. Again, they're proposing to rezone these properties. They would like to keep a portion of that R2. They would like to convert the C2 to a C3 so that they can have a larger lot and they're not limited to the smaller size of the C2, and then add the C3, those commercial uses, to those industrial uses so they have some more variety in terms of mixed uses in the future. Again, about 66% of that parcel remains intact in terms of the allowable uses. Ultimately, what they're proposing for that northern half above the industrial could be accomplished with the existing zoning in so long as it was subdivided. This converts, again, that non-conforming portion of the C2 into a compatible commercial district, and then again adds those commercial uses to the industrial. As I had mentioned before, the applicant's interested in doing a multifamily development in the fashion of a single-family style. They're calling this a build-for-rent type of development. It really is that missing middle that you may have heard a lot about. It fits that niche. It's not exactly apartment living and not exactly a single-family standalone house, but somewhere in the middle for those people that like those types of amenities. And again, as I had stated before, the existing zoning for the most part on the northern half could be developed this way as long as it was subdivided, but they really don't want to subdivide the property. They want to keep it as a whole so that they can keep it in common ownership. Here is an example of what that might look like. Again, this is looking, if you follow my cursor from one end of the page to the other, we're looking north at this end. This is the southern end of the property. There are no plans currently for that vacant portion, which is now zoned industrial. And you can see this is a conceptual layout of that build for rent concept. These are single family units. There's some duplexes. There's a lot of green space and amenities, including a dog park and a number of other things in the area. Here are some pictures just showing what the property looks like currently. There is a large billboard or a few along the southern edge. It is vacant. This is McGuffey right here. And then, of course, this is BATAAN. You can see, again, just vacant land currently. Staff reviewed the proposal for this conversion of zone changes and the addition of some other zones. We didn't identify any health, safety, or welfare issues, and the districts do appear to be compatible with the surrounding uses and neighborhoods that are already there. It is within the suburban place type per Elevate Las Cruces and fits nicely within the goals and policies outlined there. Including mixed uses and low to moderate residential densities. And again, it allows a conversion of the C2 zoning district to C3 so that it can be utilized a little bit more fully. The case was notified twice before P&Z. The first effort was postponed. We did receive several phone calls. There were there were a number of people that also attended the meeting to generally ask questions. They had some concerns about, is this going to be really intense commercial development? Is it going to be large apartments? And during those discussions, for the most part, it appeared that the concerned neighbors, their concerns were alleviated after they heard what was actually going to be developed on the site. And we did notice for, of course, the city council meeting as well, and haven't received any feedback since planning and zoning. So again, staff is recommending approval, and P&Z is also recommending approval of this. It was a unanimous vote based on the findings outlined here and also in your staff report. And we do have the applicant here to make a presentation, but your options today are to vote yes, to vote no, yes with conditions, or vote to table. And I would be happy to answer questions or prepare the presentation for the applicant.
Councilor Corran?
I'm really excited to hear about this. Thank you for the presentation, and I would like to hear from the applicant about the planned use. Thanks.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we're good.
There it is. Okay. You can use these.
Members, Mr. Mayor, members of the council and staff, my name is Mike Clement. I'm part of the development team. I'm grateful to be here, and I'm also excited somebody actually wants to hear me talk a little bit. I have a tendency to get passionate about this, so bear with me if I seem to get too carried away. I think what Catherine had to say was very good. I don't really want to repeat any of that, but you can see where we're going here. What I did want to point out, first of all, as you can see, this is the area she was referring to. It's really kind of what prompted us to go about doing what we're doing. Is you've got the power line running there, and then you have the M1, M2, which is not compatible with this use on the other side, but not large enough to really do anything with. So the whole intent here for this project was basically allowable anyway, is to clean up this little sliver to best serve the community. And so there you go, that's why we're here. A little bit about this. Las Cruces is like so many communities around the country anymore. There's a shortage of housing. For your information, I come from Phoenix. I was involved in the very first one of these communities that was built there, quite controversial at the time, about 10 years ago, and have been heavily involved in the development and understanding how these have emerged. They call them horizontal housing. It's kind of a hybrid concept. Build to rent can mean anything. You even have normal apartments that are being called build to rent. But anyway, that's kind of the popular terminology you're going to hear about. I can tell you this concept has been very popular. It has the look and feel of small homes. I can tell you the unit sizes will range from about 745 feet to roughly 1,343 square feet, on average about 1,091 square feet. In this community, well, anyway, going along with this, what's really popular about this, it gives the feel of a home, a subdivision feel, so everybody has their own little house, if you will, but they have yards. And I don't even know if I can bring up the word pet. That seems to be a very important and high-spirited topic today. But these are very pet-friendly communities. They all have private yards. They all have doggy doors. I guess cats can go through them too if they're there. But the whole intent is literally to cater to what's out there. What we have found in Phoenix and other major communities where these are thriving, Denver, down in Austin, Dallas, big communities all over, is the fact that they don't have the feel of apartments where somebody's above or below. You literally have your own. The majority of these units, and there are going to be about 209 in this project now that we've kind of finalized what it's going to look and feel like with setbacks and everything. And by the way, we're in compliance with all of those. But the density is about 11.2 units per acre, so it's a little bit more than a normal single-family subdivision, quite a bit less than your typical apartment community. If you look at these, you'll see around the perimeter, and let me see here. There you go. This will help you see a little bit better what's going on here. The whole perimeter is surrounded with single-family, detached, or attached twin homes, if you will, but actually more like, best way you would know them is a duplex. So these little orangey ones are more of a duplex style, but they're single level. All of these yellow ones that wrap around the perimeter, those are all detached, single level, 2-bedroom, 2-bath homes. We do have some 2 stories. They're all in the middle. You can see them right there. And what we're doing, and they're designed like a townhome, if you will, or a twin home. So just 2, they're not row housing, but they're close together. And all the fronts of the homes front these little paseos. So we're creating a sense of community where families and people can come together. A number of these are happening in Phoenix, where I'm from, and they just thrive. I mean, they're so popular. There's waiting lists. Amazing. By the way, I did want to mention this is a market rate project. On the luxury side of things, very high end. They are going to be technology based, smart homes, if you will, the latest in technology. They are also designed to cater to what's going on in the community, where we're now dealing with this concept called hybrid working, work from home, which started out. And there's a big movement to stay in this mode, particularly for those that can work remotely. And that's what these homes have as well. Almost all of them have a work from home element. I don't have a floor plan here for you to see, but basically a little office with a door. Well, let's say you don't want to work from home. Well, it could be your pet room, where you literally have a door you put them in. Or it could be a workout room that you can hide your workout equipment. Or, a nursery if it's a young child. But it's like a bonus to the community. So it works out really well. Most, but not all, will have access to a garage, either attached or detached. 51% will have access to a garage, the others will not. A lot of the garages will be optional, so that you can cater to those that want them and others that don't. We have the pickleball courts. You can see those up here in the corner. You see the dog park. We've been very sensitive to the surrounding neighbors, as you can see. So we're either putting green space, we're putting the yards, and we're putting all these single-level homes around anything that's adjoining any other residential area, so that we're not obstructing any views or anything like that, and hopefully making this a very desirable experience. It's a secured community, it's gated, it has controlled access at multiple levels. You'll see this is your main entry here. We'll also have an access up here at the top, and then a third one here for emergency access only. And also it has resort-inspired community amenities. You'll have your small clubhouse with a leasing office, fitness center, a nice pool, spa, fireplace for mod, and a whole bunch of things like that. Pickleball courts, actually cornhole, and et cetera. These are gives you an idea of what the elevations look like. Again, some of the features that are there. I'm also just quickly show you some of the perspectives we have of what they will look like. It's amazing how real, unreal things can look, huh? So this gives you an idea, and you can see right here this idea with the paseos that are on the two-story twin homes that are running down the middle of the project. So distance-wise, as you can see here, give you a perspective. There's where the location would be on the community. There's a 30-foot, 4-foot span from somebody that would be living right there over the fence to the nearest community, or nearest home that we have. And if you get down here over in this area where this marker is near the dog park, some of the distances are quite massive, as you can see. So the whole idea is not to impose on our neighbors, but actually create a very desirable amenity. I guess that's it. I'm open to any questions that you might have.
Councilor Corran, Councilor Flores.
Thank you. I've just been doing a little bit of homework too on what build to rent means and what this means in my district. And just to give my colleagues a picture of what this means, the average home price in my district is about $257,000, which today's rent would be, or today's mortgage rates would be about $1,600 to $1,700 per month. All that to say, people can't afford to move to buy a home in my district, generally speaking. That's a generalization, but I would say that with myself included. And so I just wondered if you could talk about this idea of build to rent in our current housing picture, and what does that mean? And then also just say sort of, I appreciate any more accessible housing entering into my district, and I really appreciate you thinking about what that looks like and giving people a place to let their dog out in the yard. Thanks for that.
I'd be happy to address that. That's a good question. Any others along those lines? So first of all, I want you to know that even though I'm from Phoenix, I'm not just relying on hearsay. My team and I have literally been knocking on doors of multiple family projects in the community, those that are relevant, over 20 of them, literally talking to the people that are in the know, that know what they're talking about. There's some that don't. That's okay. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but we actually were able to find property managers on site that were very knowledgeable of what's happening in here. One thing we did learn, by far, in all the rental communities you have, about half have dogs or pets of some sort. And they really have nowhere to put them or contain them, you know, and being a pet-friendly community is perhaps the most important amenity that is needed here, bar none, everywhere. That's what I heard. And obviously, when you listen to the conversations that are going on today, and I'm sure that's just the tip of the iceberg, that's what Las Cruces is about. It's very pet-friendly, and I think it's great. I'm the same way. I feel the same way. So that was one thing that we wanted to do. The other thing we found out, and this involves staff input, that you've got a shortage of over 2,000 rental homes, not to even mention single-family homes. And what's been happening here, like in Phoenix and all these other communities, home prices have gone up so much, everyone's selling them instead of using them as rentals like so many have. So now suddenly you have a shortage of everything. As we were going around to multifamily communities, properties in the community, we're finding out everybody's full, and they have been for months, years. Unbelievable. I believe there's a real opportunity here, and I know this is but a dent, but it's a start. And what we are bringing in is a concept. This will be the first one like this, but this is going everywhere. And we hope if the response is positive that we'll be able to bring more to you in the community. You mentioned affordability. We're very sensitive to that, and you threw out some costs of housing. Base prices for these, where we're at today, and by the way, the market's moving, we'll follow the market. It'll be a couple years before we actually figure out is in alignment with what you were just showing out. So that's kind of the idea here. I might also mention we are oriented and visionary as to what's yet to come. We will have a charging unit for electric cars that I don't know if there are too many here yet, but we know they're coming. And all of the units that have garages are going to be pre-wired so that we could put charging units in them as the need arises down the road. So any other questions? Did I address what you asked without rambling too much?
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Flores?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, sir. I didn't get your name.
Mike Clement. Clement, C-L-E-M-E-N-T.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clements. I think we have a shortage of homes for people who came in thinking, I can afford a house. They get here and they really can't, and in the newer areas. So I think that I'll be more blunt in my question. How much, now, is this going to be rentals only? Because you talked about a lease manager office, and then and then the size of the streets. Of course, it's only a drawing, but the pictures you did show with the houses facing each other so that people can be friendly, probably not, but okay.
Well, if they don't want to.
We can hope. But how then would emergency trucks, fire trucks, be able to access those homes? Is there an outside street where access is available? And then is that the back part of the house that the firefighters or the EMT or whatever emergency people might be there, or repair people or utility people? I'm looking at the outside, like where the little yellow things are. What are those little yellow boxes? Homes?
Those are homes.
Those are
detached
homes.
single-family homes. Yes.
Okay. And then those little strips of green.
Paseos, park areas.
No. The strip, not the green park, like the doggy park, but there's rows of tan-colored structures. Are those homes? And then those are the ones that are facing each other?
Can you see where my cursor is? Am I in the correct place? Is this what you're thinking of? And
Yes.
you see these little green areas?
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall the right width of that, but I'm going to say it's roughly 20 feet of green space. It's what we could make work. We were trying to make them as large as possible. What you have here, all of these little boxes you see are going to be homes. They're either going to be detached, like all of these yellow ones.
Okay.
The little orange ones you see, there's a cluster there, there's a cluster there, there's a cluster there, there's some there, there's some there. Those are also single level, but they're like duplexes.
Okay, so my question is, are they going to be for sale or for lease or rent only?
This is purposely built for rent.
For what?
For rent.
For rent.
Yes.
So these
are not
going to be owner.
These are not going to be sold individually, no, as homes.
So who will the tenants be renting from? Your company?
Yes, there will be a single owner that owns own thing, like it would be an apartment community, but rather than being the standard 8-plex or 16-plex unit or whatever it may be, they're going to be designed like little homes, little houses like you could see.
Do you have any idea what the rent, what the price of the rent would be? The amount?
Well, these are going to be market rates. They're going to be tied to whatever the prevailing rent is.
Well, prevailing, according to which part of the city?
They're going to be competitive with the part of the community that they're in.
That's not really there aren't a lot of, well, I guess there.
So
this is new. This is a new design.
This is a new
so
concept
it's
here.
a new concept, so it's going to be hard for, I don't think you're going to find, you have apples here, and I think all we have is oranges to compare it to, so I don't know.
You know, that's.
My concern is that, that they be, I hope they're affordable, because we have a population of people that would be able to afford to rent or buy, preferably buy, who just, and prices are just so high.
Yes, they are.
So did you do a market study on that? And do you have any numbers on that?
Let me respond like this. This is the first crate of apples of this type in Las Cruces. Actually, it's one of the first in New Mexico. This is not the first ever. The concept is coming from Phoenix, and I have been involved with the concept in lots of projects forever. So the real question is, and the market research goes back to what's going on in Phoenix and other communities where they already exist. And the answer is they compete in the market as luxury apartment rentals. They do compete and are aligned with other high-quality, newer apartment communities in the area. They tend to be more popular because of the amenity package that I've referenced. And so they're highly sought after with wait lists. Alternatively, if they're not available, then they're going to go somewhere else. Right now in these other communities, for those that are developing multifamily products, because there's a need everywhere, it's not just here. And if you can't get the density means when you're going 3-4 levels, podium style, 24 units, 30 units an acre, that's a whole different thing. That's more of an urban concept. You would never put that here. And that's what the neighbors didn't want to see with the typical standard apartment style. So this has been born out of that small home movement. It started a while back. We all have heard about it. Again, the rents are competitive with other rental properties in the community, so what do? Well, we go the newest, the best, the most desirable, the luxury, however you want to call that community projects that exist in the surrounding areas and see where they're at.
And then what happens if you don't have a market? It sounds like you really, I don't know. I mean,
that's an excellent question. What if we don't have a market? Meaning, if nobody wants to rent these?
Well, can't afford them. Because if you're saying they're luxury and you're going to be marketing as luxury.
That's a good question. They're aligned with other rents in the community. So how do we do this? You go around, you do your normal surveys, and they have to compete with other properties that tenants that would be coming here would be going there. They're not necessarily going to be going to the lower quality communities here, but there are projects in the area that if somebody of more affluence is looking to rent, that's where we will go to compete. This is not intended to be catering to the Section 8 community at all. But what will happen, and this is what I would ask you to think, there is a demand for this. It's been proven in all other markets, not just Phoenix, where they exist.
But we're talking about Las Cruces, not Phoenix. And that's why I'm asking, and please forgive me, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but I'm not
So you're asked, but
I want to know whether you really know this community and you know what
so I personally have knocked on the doors of some 20-odd communities here in town, me personally, and my associate. I have gathered the information. I have analyzed it. We have called. I have talked to the asset managers, the property managers. I've talked to on-site staff at these communities. I literally did this. I'm not just flying in here to make a presentation on the cuff. What do you think of this? This is what we have. This is what we're bringing. Will people want it? Yes. Would they like this? Absolutely. Those that have been in other markets and said, I've been there, I love it, this would be great. Well, how do we price this? And I was given parameters, but what I need to say is the markets are dynamic, either for sale or for rent. They move up, they move down. So when we go to price it, to make an economic decision as to whether we can afford to build this or not, and we'll pencil for the ultimate owner, the partner that we have, it's going to be based on what the rents are now and kind of what the trending is. The reality is rents here are trending upward in a very big way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not making them go up, I'm tracking them. And Las Cruces is dealing with the same affordability issues or attainability issues that other communities are. So the thing is, the more units you bring in of any type, if they're desirable, people will find a way there. And if these tend to cater to the more affluent in the community, they will migrate here. And that will create opportunities for other projects that are perhaps not as nice. And so others then can go in there. So ultimately, the concept of equilibrium is what this is all about. When you bring projects in like this, if they're not affordability based with a bunch of subsidies, you have to go to market. And that's what we're doing, like any other community developer would do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? So I find this really interesting, interesting concept.
Thank you.
So you're looking to literally build this entire build out. And
Correct.
then, yeah. So I'm guessing you're going to spend $40 to $50 million building these units.
It's a big investment. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So,
but I have to tell you, what I have found about, and not again relying on somebody else, but from my own door knocking, I'm also a commercial real estate appraiser in Phoenix, have been for 30 years. So I'm also on the development side, and I've been heavily engaged in this whole movement from day one. If you really want to know, I was the appraiser, the evaluator who did the first project that was introduced to Phoenix when everybody thought it was crazy. I can be honest, and I told you when I saw this, and the bank says, Mike, we don't know what this is, but you do a lot of due diligence work. Go figure this out and tell us what it's worth. And I can remember my first thought, they didn't look anything like this. This was back in the original rendering and round, and they looked more like barracks with undesirable flat roof designs, and I go, oh my gosh, these are ugly. They're gonna be tomorrow's ghettos for sure. And so we went forward, we did our thing, and then they filled up, and then the next one, and the next one, and then pretty soon everybody else is saying, wait, what's this new product in town? And then you've got all these developers that are starting to turn ahead. What's this build-to-rent thing, you know? And I can mention some of the names of the companies that have been in, but this is the fastest growing trend of product type in the multifamily arena in the country right now, period. The other thing that's happening that's gonna make this a real benefit and amenity to Las Cruces is affordability and the hybrid workforce where you can work remotely. Phoenix at one point was considered very affordable. If you're current, it is not. It has gone way up there. And the search for affordability, particularly those where you can work remotely, is coming this way. It will. Because relatively speaking, it's affordable here.
yeah, you're not going to hear any negative from me. What I was going to say was, who I think would be some of who would like to live in there are, they're starting to build up a little bit more at White Sands Missile Range. They're getting more and more soldiers and officers there. So the officers would like that. And also from Holloman Air Force Base. I mean, there's nothing against Alamogordo, but they want to live in Las Cruces, but this is right there off the Highway 70. So, and the officers, they don't want to buy. They're only here for 3 or 4 years, and they come and go. So I think that, I like it. I was just wanted to make sure I understood. You're basically building like a little.
We're building a little community.
Yeah, like a little mini city here. I mean, we're complete with everything. So that was it.
So let me tell you, just so you're clear, probably what we're going to do is we're going to start with phase 1, which is down here. And then phase 2 is kind of up in here, and phase 3. So we have to build in mass. You can't do it 2 units at a time and make something like this work, because it is a very expensive project. But we will come in and do this, and depending on demand, then we may let it fill up before we go on to phase 3. But ultimately, we'll build it all out. It will be single ownership. It will be professionally managed. We're already in the interview process. It's got to be the right group that understands this, and so we are scoping out and talks with groups that have true experience in managing this concept successfully in these other communities that I referenced. This is going to be a real good thing, and I guarantee you it's going to attract a whole lot more attention into this area and others. The other thing I'll just tell you from my experience, from what I do, this idea of these new rental communities like this, particularly where they feel like a single-family normal community, they're going in all sorts of markets because affordability and housing shortage is ringing bells all over the place. They work. I've done the homework. Interest rates are going up, yeah, that changes a whole lot thing, but that's the cost to the developer. The key is the rents that are in the market today and wherever they'll be tomorrow will dictate where rents will be here. And if nobody can afford them, guess what? Rents have to come down. That's just the nature of this product type.
Okay, good.
Any other questions?
I have none.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
How about members of the public? Have any comment? Yes, ma'am. Just need you to state your name, and you have 4 minutes, please.
My name is Julie Bergstrom. My concern of this subdivision is not the zoning of it. My concern comes from living adjacent to it. I live on a street that's called Monte Sombra Avenue. Monte Sombra is pretty much the primary access between Sonoma Ranch Boulevard and McGuffey. And right now, there's a lot of traffic. Monte Sombra is considered a pass-through street. It's the only main street that accesses anything that is on the other side of McGuffey. So me living on Monte Sombra sees another 200 homes that are going to be built here, which is great, but I don't see anybody talking about the access to this. Mayor, when you talk about the people coming from Holman and out 70, they're going to get off on Bataan Memorial, and they're going to be able to, or Mesa Grande, and they're going to be able to access this from that end. Anyone coming from the city who lives here is going to come straight up Monte Sombra to their main entrance off of McGuffey, or to the entrances off by their dog park. That's going to be through a street called Sombra Morada. Neither one of those streets is more than a quarter mile long. At this point in time, the last traffic study that was done on Monte Sombra was an average per day eastbound 622 cars going up Monte Sombra. That's a lot of cars that 37 houses have to try to get in and out of their driveways through the day. So my concern is the access. I know that a TIA will be done. My concern is that that TIA might not include how many people turn off of Sonoma Ranch, come up Monte Sombra or Sombra Morada, go to McGuffey, and go straight through to Engler, or come to this new subdivision. So I would hope that that would be taken into consideration, because it's already a busy street. We had to fight in 2015 to try to get 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs. We approached the city again in 2019 about the speeding again and the amount of traffic. There's not enough people that speed fast enough, you know, over the allowed limit, so nothing came of that. But the 600 people that go one way on Monte Sombra is a real concern when this area back here starts to grow. I would like to see some way to try to funnel those people off of that residential street. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've got a question to ask Catherine or David. So in light of Ms. Bergstrom's comments, so I'm looking at it, and it, on one hand, on the good thing, on the good side, is that BATAAN Memorial, you can only just go one direction. So my question is, obviously there's going to be access from McGuffey, but will there also be access to it from Montesol Street? Which, you know, later on, I'm sure when it builds out, that would help alleviate traffic. So now you have two streets that they can get onto BATAAN Memorial.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, so as currently designed with the various phases, there's an access point along McGuffey where I have my cursor. Of course, this is BATAAN right here. There's another access located a little bit further north. And then at full build out, there is also an access. This is Tavis Estates, just so you all know. There is an access point here that enters into this neighborhood. So it will split the traffic. It should be noted that a traffic impact analysis has been prepared. It hasn't been submitted yet. I actually spoke with the engineer this morning. They were planning on submitting this week. But the traffic engineers, of course, they're certified, and there's certain science behind all of those traffic splits. So they will take into account the anticipated traffic into any of these neighborhoods, and then those that go on to BATAAN. And then, of course, there will be recommendations in terms of the improvements to any of the access points and the roadways to alleviate any of those impacts.
So they're going to have to go up, like say you're heading east on BATAAN, you're going to have to get off on one of the streets, Jornada, I guess, and then make a U-turn and then go. So, yeah, I mean, that in itself helps a lot of the traffic. It's not like it's two-way. But I did want to address Ms. Bergstrom's concern on that. And, well, they're not going to be required to build, I don't know what you call an egress or ingress, how kind of like a speed lane, and then so they can kind of move with the traffic and then be able to, if it happens to get to be that busy. But
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, it's possible that there's a decel lane or an XL lane that may have to be incorporated into this development as they do this. But again, we haven't received the TIA, which would indicate what's required. But that is on the forefront. As I had indicated, we spoke with the engineer this morning about some of those submittals, and they are forthcoming. But they've been working very closely with our traffic section, fire, the building section, to make sure they have all those component parts to ensure that any issues and development impacts are mitigated.
Just out of curiosity, where's the drainage going to be for this area?
I believe there's a pond that's located over in this corner here. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there's some in here. I think they're scattered throughout this.
So the water runs south to north, sort of?
Yep. So there are a number of different locations. And again, we're getting those plans in the next couple of days or week.
Reason why I ask is when you build something this large, if they were getting some runoff from the rain, this obviously is going to prevent it. and help, those houses from getting, if they were getting, I don't think they were getting flooded, but, you never know. I mean, I was just curious how the topography is. Okay, well, so that's the only questions I have. Well, I do have one, but I'll ask. I don't need to do it in public.
I have a question for Ms.
We have Councilor Beta and then you.
Thank you. Based on Mayor's question just now, does that mean that the park spaces are going to be retention ponds first and foremost?
Members of City Council, Councilor Beta, no, they're going to be areas that are specifically for drainage and then areas that are specifically park areas. So they are separated, but again, we won't be maintaining them. It'll be under the maintenance of private development. So they have a little bit more latitude in terms of whether or not they do have dual use, but there are some distinct areas that are for parks and are not part of the drainage structures.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Yes, Councilor Flores.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Harrison-Rogers. As far as the TIA goes, why don't we have that assessment before we do take any action on this? Because I think a TIA would definitely affect the way I vote on this, and just because. And the other is. There's potential for more development in that area, correct? Just to the south, just to the right-hand side of that yellow strip. Is that potential for development there?
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, Councilor Flores, there are lots of swaths of vacant land still remaining in the general area. So yes, there are opportunities for future development. There is I believe, a church in this area, so it won't be developed. But there are some vacant parcels a little further north on McGuffey and east. And then, of course, the one along BATAAN. In terms of the TIA, a couple of things is there are specific triggers for TIAs. We don't always require them. In this case, we knew one would be required. We have been working in terms of both the site design and the zoning, kind of as a simultaneous package. But it should be noted that this development could actually take place without a zone change. It would still require a TIA and then ultimately would require some additional subdivision to split it up. But it would already be allowed under the existing zoning. So because of that, the TIA was requested as part of the site development to ensure that all of those issues would be mitigated prior to that.
But shouldn't we wait for the TIA before voting yay or nay on this?
Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, Councilor Flores, our typical process does not require a TIA at the rezoning stage. In this particular case, we knew ultimately that the site design was coming, but we've been dealing with it, at least on the staff end in terms of review, as a simultaneous review moving forward because it's already allowed by zoning.
Okay, that was almost difficult to follow for me, but so I know that when there's a plan, isn't that when the TIA kicks in?
Councilor Flores, no? Yes, they have not submitted officially the plans. We've just been working with them conceptually, and they will be submitting that forthcoming. As I had indicated, I spoke with the engineer this morning, and they were hoping to submit today, but there were a couple of issues they would be submitting sometime this week or next week.
So if a zone change isn't necessary to move forward with this project, why are we here?
Councilor Flores, members of City Council, as I had indicated before, they wanted to retain this entire parcel under one ownership as opposed to splitting it in these small little pieces, which could still be retained under the same ownership. It would just require subdivision and would make it much more difficult in terms of developing, simply because then you have to deal with setbacks between lots. So although they could develop it in the fashion that we see here, it would require a subdivision to meet the maximum lot size of the C2 district, which is 1 acre.
So it would require It would require a zone change.
No, ma'am. It would require either a zone change or a subdivision. Under the C2, that's why they're requesting C3, so that they don't have a maximum lot size, and they can develop it without having to subdivide it. Because it's under one ownership, they don't want to subdivide it. They want to keep it as one large parcel. Under C2, they can't do that unless they subdivide. So it's either a zone change or a subdivision, one or the other. Does that make sense? So they're options. But they could have just proceeded with a subdivision rather than a zone change. And then, of course, the other issue that we pointed out was the alignment of that power line and then the industrial district, and trying to resolve that, because it just leaves this funny little triangle right here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So, Catherine, so regarding and I know this is going to be gated, but are they going to be required to build the streets to city standard?
Excellent question, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. During the discussions, if they were not to subdivide anything, they wouldn't be obligated, aside from doing essentially the mitigation measures as required by the TA and sidewalks. However, in this case, they're adjusting a lot line and have decided to proceed with reconstructing that entire length of McGuffey to the northern portion. So they will be redeveloping that street.
I only ask, and I know it's not my place, but it's just a habit, a plan B if it didn't work out and you wanted to start selling parts of it, and you want it to city standards, and you rezone it and sell it. So I take it that the sewer system they're going to give to the city?
Any improvements, yes, sir, would be given to the city as part of the reconstruction.
Put up lights and everything?
They would be putting in street lights. They would be doing significant improvements, yes.
Yeah. So, okay, and so it is on city sewer. It's not septic out there?
It is not septic, it is sewer.
Are there any septic, are there any places in the vicinity that are on septic? The reason why I ask that is if they were to build a little bit larger pipe, that would be nice in case the city needed it, or maybe the city may want to piggyback off them and build a little bit larger capacity. So that's all.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, well, I don't have any questions. Don't tell me I prompted a question again.
Yes, you did.
Councilor Flores.
So thank you, Mr. Arsusi, and thank you again, Ms. Harrison-Rogers. So what was the answer to the mayor's question about streets? Are they going to be, because we're having problems with communities now that are not happy with the developers, but the home association took it over, whatever, and now they can't do anything about it. So,
Councilor Flores, members of City Council, I'd be glad to clarify, and David whispered in my ear, they will be improving McGuffey to city standards. These internal roadways, while they may meet city standards, we will not be accepting those internal roadways because, of course, they're part of one property, and their access to those, to that one property only.
So what happens when the roads need work on them? Who is responsible for that?
It would be that one individual owner who owns the entire property.
So it would be his company?
That's correct. So
does he know that?
Yes, he does know that. It would be no different than an apartment complex. So some of those larger apartment complexes have pretty significant networks that go around the apartments, and whenever maintenance is required, the apartment owner is responsible for that.
And in those situations, are the property, well, in this case, they're retaining ownership. So they fully understand that they are fully responsible for keeping maintaining the safety and taking care of the wear and tear and this, that, and the other. And then if they decide to sell, that's a different story. I mean, if they decide to sell, and they just might, because you never know. So what would happen to the city and what would happen to those prospective buyers of those properties?
Councilor Flores, members of City Council, if they were to sell these individual properties, individual homes, they'd have to come through the subdivision process and bring everything up internally to city standards so that we would then want to accept it. They can't actually by law sell these individual properties without subdividing.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Okay, there was a public comment, I understand? Yes, sir. If you want to come forward, please. State your name. You have 4 minutes, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Zanasek.
Jim, what was the last name?
Zanasek.
Zanasek.
And I live on Sombra Azul, which is in that subdivision. I believe she lives on Monte Sombra. And whenever we go to town, we come back, we come off of Sonoma Ranch, and we always have to go on Monte Sombra to get to Sombra Azul, because that subdivision is, we've been there for 10 years, and to my knowledge, there's no way to get from Sonoma Ranch to McGuffey unless you go Monte Sombra. Now, somebody said some other road, but I'm not familiar with it. And I know the mayor was asking about water if you have heavy rains. And we live at the end of a cul-de-sac, and we're pretty much one of the highest houses in the subdivision. And water runs downhill from there. So, I mean, I guess my concern is, you know, where the water's going when it rains. Because right now, it drains off my property. But the other concern, again, is Monte Sombra, because there are a lot of youngsters living on that street. And I hate to see somebody get hurt if the traffic picks up on that street. I think somehow we need to be able to get from, because if you come off of Sonoma Ranch and you live on Engler, you got to take Monte Sombra to get to McGuffey to get to Engler. So that's the only comment I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I did find a road, Thurman Road. It's about, I'm going to guess, about 3/4 of a mile north of Monte Sombra, and it connects to Sonoma Ranch North.
So you're saying it's, if I'm on Sonoma Ranch, I'm going north towards the golf course?
Yes, sir. If you're heading north on Sonoma Ranch towards the golf course, you could take a right on Thurman, and it will
take you to McGuffey?
Yes.
Okay. I don't go that far because I always turn off on Monte Sombra, because I'm going south off of Monte Sombra. So
Yes,
I don't know, but I'm just saying that to me it's a pretty well-traveled road. I see a lot of people going from Sonoma Ranch to McGuffey.
Yes, sir.
And vice versa.
And I'm just guessing 3/4 of a mile. It could be a little bit less, between a half and a 3/4 of a mile. And I'm just, yeah, right.
That's just my concern because of the little kids. Because there's a lot of little kids, you know, especially in the summertime. And
yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Ordinance 3005. Councilor Beta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, that concludes our agenda. We have some board appointments. To the Health and Human Services Advisory Committee, Samantha Fields, District 5 Representative.
Move to approve.
Oh, I don't need I'll need that a little bit later. Yeah. And then also to the Planning and Zoning Commission, Joaquin Acosta, District 2 appointment. Okay, now, I'll need a motion a second. To the Realize Ad Hoc Committee, Abraham Sanchez, Councilor Abeta's appointment.
So moved, Graham.
Second by Flores.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Graham, second by Councilor Flores. Christine?
This is on the motion to appoint Abraham Sanchez to the Realize Las Cruces Ad Hoc Committee. Councilor Abeta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is Daniel Sanchez, Councilor Bencomo's appointment.
Move to approve.
Second, Graham.
Motion made by Councilor Bencomo, second by Councilor Graham. Christine?
This is on the motion to appoint Daniel Sanchez to the Realize Las Cruces Ad Hoc Committee. Councilor Abeta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor
Yes.
Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next, Kyla Navarro, Councilor Bencomo's appointment.
Move to approve. Second, Abeta.
Motion made by Councilor Bencomo, second by Councilor Abeta. Christine?
This is on the motion to appoint Kyla Navarro to the Realize Las Cruces Ad Hoc Committee. Councilor Abeta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes. Okay, this Dan Carter, which would be my appointment.
So moved.
Second, Graham.
Motion made by Councilor Flores, second by Mayor Pro Tem Gondeta. Christine?
This is on the motion to appoint Dan Carter to the Realize Las Cruces Ad Hoc Committee. Councilor Abeta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is Sarah Gonzalez, also my appointment.
So moved.
Second, Bencomo.
Motion made by Councilor Flores, second by Councilor Bencomo. Christine?
This is on the motion to appoint Sarah Gonzalez to the Realize Las Cruces Ad Hoc Committee. Councilor Abeta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Okay, next is notice of proposed ordinances. There'll be no public discussion. Councilor may ask staff for clarification on a proposed ordinance. So that would be 10.1, Council Bill number 22-028, ordinance number 3006.
Bring it forward.
Okay, bring it forward. Okay, next we have City Council member board reports. Did you want to invoke the 2-minute rule or just do regular? Yeah? Oh, really? Yeah, I did too. I liked it too. Okay, well, let's start 2 minutes and I don't have anything. So, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, I did want to address the speeding on Melendres. If we get somebody to check on that, maybe a speeding study or get out the digital speed table, that would be great. I also want to address April and her dog training. I'll make mention of it at our Animal Services Board meeting on Thursday, and I'll send an email to our director, Clint Thacker, Councilor Corran, and Councilor Flores, asking that there be a meeting set for just to address the training issues, maybe with the animals in the center, but also maybe with coats, I think would be a good thing. And then last we have, Councilor Bencomo and I have our clergy meeting, April 30th. How's that? June 30th, I'm here at 1? 2:30? I'm tired, I'm sorry. At 2:30. And so looking forward to seeing our clergy here to discuss further our unhoused neighbors. In spite of what people think, we are doing a tremendous amount. Just like today, we have almost close to $500,000 worth of services for our unhoused guests and those near homeless. So with that, Mayor, turn it back over to you.
Okay. Councilor Flores, 2 minutes.
Okay, so I have a report on the airport advisory board meeting or whatever, the airport. But where are all my notes? Well, basically there's been a setback with the intrastate travel. The RFP wasn't successful, and I don't know all the details, but it's hard to tell at this time. Had the RFP had it been successful, the airport could have been functioning as early as possibly September. But with that setback, it hopefully will redo the RFP and have an airport for intrastate travel, commercial intrastate, by the end of the year. The other report I have is from the SERTD, and there's been some confusion as to what the SERTD, the South Central Regional Transit District, how it works and whatnot, but the prosperity of the entire Mesilla Valley depends upon having a transportation system that works for every resident. Our investment in better roadways and improved conditions for pedestrians has improved access to jobs, schools, and healthcare. The regional bus service provided by the South Central Regional Transit District, SERTD, plays an increasingly important role in that system. In just the first quarter of 2022, SERTD ridership has increased 15%, continuing a multi-year trend of growing use of public transit in the valley. And there's more details here from David Armijo, but the upshot is that the SERTD is definitely is very successful and is unifying the southern part of Doña Ana County, or most of it actually. So I just want to share that. And communities that that aren't a part of it are unfortunately not able to get the service that they would like. But it's a question of their municipalities or their townships or their villages contributing. And that's all I have on that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Corran.
Thank you. I do want to give a quick update as far as ASCMV. Thank you for mentioning that, Councilor Mayor Pro Tem Gondaret. Our meeting is Thursday here at 8:30. 9. I'll be here at 8:30. There are a number of things going on. I really appreciate you all supporting TNR in an ongoing fashion, and I do think that has subsequent implications of things that we do that we can follow up on and really make sure that we're addressing community cats in a humane and progressive way that really helps reduce the population of those cats here. I would just put the bigger context of what is happening at the ASCMV. For example, from Thursday to Friday, they took in 67 community animals in one day, 33 dogs and 34 cats. They're in a current state of euthanizing animals for space, which typically we try to minimize. So I just want to put the context out there that there are a number of animal-related issues happening, and I think animal control is really doing a ton of work to try to address those issues. We have significant education issues and community responsibility that we have to maintain in the conversation, and we don't have the capacity right now to do all that we could possibly do, and how to identify the best ways to do that. I really appreciate the community inputs that have been coming our way and making a meaningful difference. So I just want to talk about that as the board is meeting on Thursday. I hope that community folks will consider coming by and sharing again, and knowing that we're committed to addressing the animals in our community in the most constructive ways possible, and also knowing that there are significant pressures on the system of the Animal Services Center at this time. So I say all of that Thursday at 9. We'll be here and broadcasting live. So with that, I'm good. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Bencomo.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, everyone. I did want to just mention that Melendres is undergoing the other side of, on the south side of Melendres, is undergoing some traffic calming measures. So I think perhaps, checking in with Public Works about the entirety of Melendres, given that I'm pretty sure the constituent was speaking about the other side. I wanted to thank IFO, Chief Dominguez, Lieutenant Whittela, Officer Klimek, Officer Roach, and Officer Ellis from Codes for meeting with me last week on the Kilby motel. I know it's been a big issue and concern for the area, and we have an action plan moving forward. So I'm looking forward to be able to release some of that information to the public soon, but I just wanted to thank them. Coming up as well on this Thursday at 5:30 p.m. at Extreme Garage on West Picacho, we'll be having our first West Picacho revitalization meeting hosted by the folks at Extreme Garage and the Peddlers Pavilion. So a huge thanks to them. This one will be for small business in the area. I hope that this is first of many meetings. Hopefully we'll do some community-wide meetings with the residents around the area, some meetings with the motels on West Picacho, and really have a community-driven grassroots effort to revitalize that area of our community that very much needs it. So that's, if you know business owners, small business owners on West Picacho, 5:30 p.m. Thursday at Extreme Garage. I hope that you can give us a update on the fireworks resolution. I was disappointed that came off today. Thankfully, we've been getting some rain, real rain today. But I just, given that our state is quite literally on fire, I really wanted to make sure we did something, even if it was to stand in solidarity with communities on fire across New Mexico. But if not, I want to know what the plan is for some education in our community and to ensure the safety of our public, our firefighters and our public safety officers. And then that's it, actually. I will stop there before my timer goes off.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Graham.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to thank my district members who hosted a meeting on June 15th regarding the issue that was brought up at the last regular session, where we're talking about the incredibly complicated, but we are working on it together, issues going on around unhoused folks and crime and the not always intersection of those two things. But I really appreciated getting to come out and listen to the views of people living in the district. Special thanks to the police officers who came out and gave great information. Lieutenant Whittela, Sergeant Heschler, Officers Glimpf, Klimek and Hernandez. Also, my teammates from the city, Mayor Pro Tem Gondara, Natalie Green, thank you so much for being there, Ann Sanchez from Community of Hope. And just wanted to let people know who are still checking in on this. We are continuing to have meetings on this later this week. Myself, Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor, will be meeting with Mesilla Valley Community of Hope and the Mesilla Valley Housing Authority. So please realize that things are going on behind the scenes as well. Also another special LCPD thank you to Sergeant Garcia. I did a ride along with him a couple of weeks ago. I can't say that I solved any crimes, but I had a great time, and I really appreciate, I kind of did. I really appreciated the conversation that we got to have together. It was eye-opening. And finally, congratulations, great event over the weekend. Battle of the Badges went on over at the Pan Am Center. Councilor Abeta was my date to that fantastic night of fights. Special congrats to the LCFD and LCPD who stepped up. I can speak from personal experience that it's tough to get in there, tough to get into the ring. I'll regale you all with my boxing history some other time. But no, wonderful event, very successful, and benefits a lot of charities in the community. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilor Beta.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to say a welcome to one of my new interns. If you'd like to wave, this is Brandy Vega. She comes from NMSU, where she is in the AG program, and she is going to be working on communications and constituent relations. So I'm very excited to be welcoming her, and I hope you all do the same. For reports, I have quite a few. We'll start off with our endemic report. I have been receiving a notice from Stephen Lopez with the Office of Emergency Management, just kind of keeping track of our case numbers and positivity rates. This information does come from Friday, so it is, we did have a weekend, but our 7-day positivity rate is down slightly, which is good, and our fatality report is down slightly. This is also taking into consideration, this is Doñana County information. And our hospital data, COVID cases are only accounting for 1.9% of the hospitalizations, so we're still doing okay. And I will be happy to continue to report out some of these information items. Second up, we had a meeting about a week ago about a water line replacement and mill overlay that will be done on University Avenue. I want to thank, there's a whole list here, and from Public Works, we have David Cedillo, Tony Trevino, Miguel Perez, Cecilia Estrada, Natasha Billy, and Palova Guzman. All who helped with this public meeting. As I said, they're going to be doing a water line replacement and mill overlay. This water line has broke a few times on University, and it's taken a few months to repair, so we do need to extend it. There are 3 items that I'd like for consideration given the input that we had on the meeting. One item is to make sure that we are looking at pedestrian safety very closely during this project, especially as we have university students kind of going back and forth, not necessarily in crosswalks all the time. And there are some specific areas around the Casa Bandera apartments where people like to cut across. The second item is to look at potentially having public update meetings during this project. During the I-25 and University Avenue project, it was very well received when we had at least, they had monthly meetings. I don't think this needs to be as many, but at least 1 or 2 meetings for the public to hear. It really helps gather that communication and I think made better constituent relations. And then the third, and it was brought up, just looking at University Avenue as a whole to be more pedestrian friendly and looking at a more big picture plan on how to make it a little bit more updated and looking at even complete streets types of updates. Okay. The next item is an update. Mavita will be hosting its strategic planning session next Wednesday, which I will be attending, and I think that coincides along well, considering that we gave a budget increase, and I'll report back out at our next time. There is going to be a job fair expo June 23rd from 2 to 6 at the Doniana Community College on the East Mesa campus. This job fair expo is going to be targeted towards law enforcement and emergency services. And the final item that I have is congratulations to the 51st Academy for the LCPD. There was, I believe, 28 graduates, so congratulations to all of them. And thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Councilor. Okay, Ifo.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe I can just start off with, if I can turn some time over to Chief Smith to just respond to the fireworks resolution, if you have anything, Chief, to add.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Peely. Fire Chief Jason Smith. First, I want to start by apologizing for us having to require that item be pulled off the agenda today. Our intent was to bring the item that would cover, had the resolution passed, that it would cover the 4th of July holiday. The timing was off. That's my fault. We should have had that here last regular meeting, so I apologize for that. I know this is caused by some confusion, a little bit of angst among City Council and hopefully not too many of our citizens, but our goal now is to clarify as much as possible what fireworks are permissible and allowable and what our safety message is to our citizens. This way our vendors are not confused and our citizens aren't either. Staff will keep working on public education and outreach through social media and whatever other avenues we can work with the communications office on. Bringing the item forward in the future, next year we'll make sure we meet our timelines, and we'll also work with city staff on the ordinance to clarify some items. So just to clarify, the resolution today was only going to limit where fireworks could be used, basically limiting it from that urban desert kind of interface. That's already being done by the state forester outside of BLM land. You can't use it out in the desert. Obviously, we don't want to do that right now. Even with the rain that we got the last night, that's not enough to get us out of drought. It's a little bit. We need up to 4 to 6 inches over the next couple of months to get out of drought status. So right now, the city ordinance doesn't allow for aerial or ground audible devices. That's prohibited for sale and possession in city ordinance, and that's allowed through NMSA 62C 7C, if I got that right. Christine, she'll correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. But we already did that in ordinance early 2000. I think it was around 2006, 2007, that change was made to our ordinance. So just to clarify for our citizens, the best place for them to buy fireworks to use within the city is through vendors in the city. Right now, I believe only the Walmart stores have been inspected or are being inspected to begin sales today. No other temporary fireworks stands have received their permit or their inspection from the Las Cruces Fire Department or the State Fire Marshal's Office. So again, I could only ask that our citizens use fireworks in a safe and responsible way and consider their neighbors at the time of day that they use them and how they use the fireworks. And again, I apologize. This was my mistake of not watching the calendar closely.
Thank you, Chief. Oh, yes, Councilor.
Can I just follow up on that? Thank you, Chief, and thanks for communicating about that. I am, aside from all the factors related to drought and lighting things on fire and people injuring themselves and then having to seek medical care on the 4th of July, I would just, the reason I mentioned the number of intakes the Animal Services Center had and the number of euthanasias that they will continue to be doing and the spike that will occur, just to remind folks of the implications of when they shoot off fireworks. It causes a number of animals, people's pets, to be frightened and lost. When those pets go into the shelter, they take up space. That results in animals being euthanized. And so just to put it into some real talk, in addition to all the other implications that the chief mentioned, I want to put it out there that it doesn't help our community at all when folks shoot off a bunch of fireworks. So I just want to publicly acknowledge that there's an entire community of folks who would like us to never have fireworks at all. So thanks.
Okay. Do you have a follow-up, Chief?
Thank you, Mayor, members of City Council, Jason Smith, Fire Chief. On that topic, Councilor Corran, state law is very specific on what municipalities can restrict. So we can restrict aerials and ground audible devices from being permissible, and we can put restrictions on where you can use the fireworks as long as it's no later than 20 days before the holiday. So that is a state law that would have to be changed. And sparklers can be sold year-round because they're a novelty item. So I had to ask fire prevention as well that question. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And I think it wasn't clear, but just to further clarify, so the resolution did not affect the ban on the aerial. So that's been in place, and so the fact that we don't have the resolution doesn't impact that. Thank you, Chief. And then the other announcement I want to make is, Annette just sent an email to all of you regarding Carla's departure and some of her responsibilities, and then also our interim that we're going to be appointing. And I don't know if everybody has had the opportunity to meet Cynthia Aramillo. Maybe you could stand, Cynthia. Cynthia's been our management analyst. She's been working under Amber Vaughn. Thank you, Cynthia. And so she'll be setting up meetings with each of you to go over some of your pending events and needs. Cynthia, I don't know if everyone knows, Cynthia's actually been a city manager. So she was a city manager for 2 years and an assistant city manager in a city in Colorado. Oh, sorry, Oregon. And so she comes with a lot of experience. She has 2 master's degrees. And so she's sort of been hiding out from us for a while. And so we're going to put her to work in this opportunity here. So I'm excited for Cynthia. And then you'll see on the email how we've divided up the responsibilities so that she can take those responsibilities and not be overwhelmed initially. Thank you, Cynthia. And then also, just to give the correct number for, with Councilor Beta mentioned the graduation, we're all excited about that, and with the Police Academy. So we currently have 197 out of 202. We are looking at, there's about 3 retirements. DC Brock just mentioned coming at the end of the month, so that'll take that number down a little bit. But this is, from what I understand from Chief Dominguez, this is as high as we've been in quite a while. Now, we have some challenges with fire now, trying to fill vacancies. So that's where the vacancies are coming from. And so we're excited for their academy to begin as well. I think that's all I have, Mayor, to report.
May I say something, Mr. Mayor? Just
For
really
the
quick.
100th time, sure, go ahead. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I'll take 30 seconds. You can time me. Thank you, Cynthia, so much. Thank you very much for the work that you've done with Andy Hume in the airport. Would you still be working with him? Wonderful. She's been great. And so putting you to work is going to take a different meaning, working for 6 city councilors. Now, seriously, I just want to thank you for the marvelous work you did with the airport. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Ifo.
You did do it under 30 seconds. That's pretty good. Okay. If there's nothing further, to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Graham.
Motion made by Councilor Flores, second by Councilor Graham to adjourn. Christine?
This is on the motion to adjourn the regular meeting. Councilor Beta?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta?
Here, no, I mean, yes.
And Mayor?
Yes. Okay, it's 4:37 p.m. We are adjourned. Thank you.